Good evening, everyone, and welcome to round 15 of the RSF1 season. I'm Primus Gaming, and joined with me once again is my good friend Bodder.
Ah, Primus, how are you keeping, good fella, huh? Round 15, jeez, we're getting through, aren't we?
I'm doing very good, and I mean, it's been a very good couple of week for me. You know, we've managed to hop onto a new, onto the old street circuit of Singapore. We've seen action here in the past, and if you guys are questioning why are the drivers retiring from the session, we've only got 15 cars. You don't have to really go out. There's no point. So, you know, so if drivers want to go out, you can take this as like your very little practice session, as me and Bod like to call it when we're in these situations. But anyways, yeah, it's really good. Round 15 is so scary of how quick it's come by. You've actually got 6 races to go before the end of the season. 7 if you're counting F1 and F4, because F1's got to redo the French Grand Prix when the F4 lot's got to actually redo the Monaco Grand Prix.
Oh, can't wait for Monaco.
Yeah, it's going to be intense. I think even though France is a difficult track, I think everyone will be more like keeping an eye out for. Oh, we've actually got a Mercedes going out of Pie Eater. So everyone will be keeping an eye out for F4 in Monaco for sure. I mean, you will be keeping an eye out definitely on F4, won't you?
Yeah, definitely. I said to you during the week, obviously we weren't broadcast at that moment, but if it comes down to a title decider of, you know, a few points between a couple of... as Pie Eater goes around. Alright, Grosjean, take her handy. Take her handy, Grosjean.
He's just done a Grosjean, and the worst part is that's just done in a perfectly good set of soft tyres. I don't even think he knows he's got wing damage. He's warming up the tyres when he's got that damage there and then. That was almost Pie Eater actually out of Q1. That was very, very risky.
That would have been him completely out qualifying if that happened. Thankfully it didn't.
Yeah,
hopefully,
that would have been him out all the time.
Hopefully he takes it easy and gets it back to the garage and puts on a new front wing. But back to F4, Monaco. Yeah, I was saying to you earlier on in the week, ooh, skin's the wall nearly. If it comes down to a few points in F4 for a title decider between, you know, first, second, third, fourth, that's going to be an amazing race. You're going to have some really aggressive drivers and pushing it for every point in F4. And I couldn't think of really a better track for the end of the season for F4.
Yeah, actually the most iconic track in the entire F1 calendar. So it'll be very exciting to see, and a very nice wrap up for the first season of the RSF1 season, because like no matter what happens, if I win the championship or don't win the championship in F4, it's been a tremendous season. It's been amazing fun. I've met amazing people coming into the comms box, you know, the comms team, the podcast team, my league, well, my division, and like the rest of the league. There's been some truly, truly good moments in the season that, you know, we'll all take home with us. And I think all of you, including our viewers, will have one of those moments that you'll be happy to keep with you for a long, long time in this amazing league racing.
Yeah, no, definitely. And yourself, Primus, you've definitely got faster as well as the season's progressed. Not saying that you were a slow driver at the start, but you've definitely gotten quicker.
I found my feet.
Yeah, I think so.
I was new to league racing.
I think so, because you and me did Monza, I think, twice the week before, and you bet me in pole, and you bet me in the race twice. So that just shows how far you've come on. Like, I'm slipping one of them. But what I found interesting was that you set a 120 flat in our practice race, and that's what was the pole in F4.
Yeah, and the best part was when I got the toe on Alco Saints in the straight before the Parabolica on Monza, I was like, that is definitely not helped, because, you know, I was like already 4.5 tenths up on my time when I almost caught up to Alco, and then as I was getting in the toe of him, it only gave me like half a tenth, which wasn't even much, and then I lost a little bit of it going into the Parabolica, the last corner, and then I managed to still set the 120 dead. After, you know, calming down after how the results were last week, because, you know, the win was there. You know, it could have ended up really worse, could have DNF'd, you know, could have finished out the points. Second place, I can take it. I'm happy with that result. You know, it's just at the time, you know, you were a little bit more into it. You're more like head down, adrenaline going, and then at the end of that result, you just, you know, the emotions run high. But then once you calm down and all that, you look at it and you think, you know what, that could have been a hell of a lot worse. So I think I'm happy with what I've got.
No, it's very good. Very good recovery drive as well. It just shows you the pace and the resilience you have. You know, to get a, what was it, drive-through on lap 1 or 2, to come back and get second.
Yeah,
so,
I jumped the
job.
start literally like half a tenth of a, basically like barely even a second off of the lights going out. I got a launch off the line and I thought, oh my god, I just done it. Oh, I've got a driver penalty. Because I was also being spammed with messages, so I couldn't concentrate. I was getting a bit frustrated behind the wheel as I was trying to concentrate on my formation lap and getting spammed with invites and then trying to get a good start. Jake Moore, provisional pole with not provisional, well, in first place, currently in Q1 with a 1:37.6. Me and Bodder just taking it a bit easy because, you know, we're in Q1, no one's going out unless someone crashes.
It's not good.
But, like, there's no real need to get too heavily excited at the moment because it's still, the night's still young.
Yeah, exactly. Just you were going back there to jump from the starts. I think that's something that nearly every league racer does once. And you only do it once because you don't make that same mistake again. It happened to me in Canada maybe last season or season before, I forget. But the guy in front of me jumped. So immediately I jumped as well to go with him. And of course the two of us jumped the start. But it'll never happen again because I'll always be watching for the lights and watching the car in front of me. If the car in front of me jumps it, so be it. I'll be jumping it.
A couple of people in and out of the league actually asked me the same question. They said, if you've jumped the start, you've got 3 laps to try and make a gap between you, because they were speaking to me directly because at the time I was in the lead when I started the race, even with the jump. They just said, you could have made 3 laps. You could have done 3 laps. You could have gotten ahead of Tigosaurus, you know, opened a bit of a gap, then do the drive-through, and then maybe not have suffered so much. But me, I'm the sort of person who hates having that kind of thing looming over my head. If I have a drive-through penalty or if I've got a stop and go, depending on how early it is in the race, I'm going to serve it because you never know, safety car, virtual safety car, anything might come out. And if I've got that looming over me and I haven't bothered to pit, then I've lost my perfect opportunity to make up some serious paces. So, I mean, there was no safety car in the race, but still through tremendous race pace and just, you know, immense concentration, I managed to take home second place. But yeah, that wasn't worth keeping that drive-through penalty. It was just too risky. I needed the championship points to stay ahead of McCracken and, well, Spyro Laserface, who's now called RSF1 Raikkonen. I
can't give all his name changes, by the way. All his name changes. Like we have Schumacher here tonight. Like Senna, we've always had Senna. But like all these name changes, cannot keep up with them in Discord. Anyone who's obviously in our league and in our Discord server, there's a number of name changes happening at the minute. I can't keep up with them. I'm still going to call people by their old name. We've Schumacher there. That's obviously DP Roberts. I'm still going to call him Roberts.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably just going to stay as Primus. I mean, I've joined in the game, you know, given myself an F1 driver nickname. I've called myself in Discord RSF1 Ricardo, but obviously I don't think I'm going to change my gamer tag to that because, first of all, it costs like £8 or £9. And it's probably just like a little joke between drivers at the moment, you know, just to make those names. So if like eventually it will go. So
I'd probably call myself Irvine, RSF1 Irvine, but no, only half the league would get it. I don't think the other half of the league would be like, who's Irvine? Who's this Irvine guy? Oh my god.
Yeah, because I've actually had people, I've seen people ask, because Moronix has changed his name to RSF1 Hamilton, and some people said, "Who's Hamilton?" And it's just like, "Oh yeah, that's Moronix." So even some of the fellow league members have gotten confused of all the name changes because I know 4 used to be called BDB4, and now he's changed his name to RSF1 4. That's completely fine because you know your name is still 4. You know, all you've just done is show that you're dedicated to the league. Because like, if you changed your name to RSF1 Bodder, everyone will still know, oh yeah, it's just Bodder, he's just dedicated himself to RSF1.
Yeah. Exactly. But will we go through the standings real quick while we've a few minutes left in qualifying?
I'll give you that honour, my friend.
Yeah, nice. Okay, so I'm just pulling up on my laptop here. 1 second now, guys. Oh right, this is what I was like. I was looking at this earlier on while I was watching the real life Mexican Grand Prix. But anyway, A Magic Man sitting in first with 213 points. So he has quite a big gap. So he is a 70-point gap to his nearest rival, which is RSF1 Roberts, or tonight, as we know, as Schumacher. Now, here's the interesting thing. It's 26 points between second place to sixth place. That's where the fight is.
High.
Yeah, between second to sixth. And we still have six races to go. So there's a lot there. Like if you know, Magic Mark, he's sitting in a comfortable position now at the minute. But if he has one or two DNFs, that could really turn things around. He really needs to be scoring, you know, not major points, but he needs to be getting, you know, podium, you know, 5th, 6th here and there. Just keep his points coming in. That's pretty much wrapping up the season for him. But look, six races still left to go.
A person to keep an eye on for today would be Mr. T,
Skunk.
because he got a skunk as well. But Mr. T has on his debut in Monza, he really did get a bit of a bad qualifying, but he made his way up into P4 for a finish. But we can't forget the tremendous run from Skunkburn. I think he started just a little bit ahead of Mr. T in the midfield and won the race. So Skunk is definitely very, very fast, but both the Racing Point boys scored a podium last week, so amazing points for the Racing Point team.
Yeah.
How was the actual standings for the constructors, Bodo, if you don't mind me asking?
So, yeah, no, all good. So, as you can imagine, Racing Point are obviously in the lead with that. They're 270 points, so yeah, that's what they have. And then the next is Renault with 204. So there's 66 points of a gap between Renault and Racing Point. When you think about it, in constructors, isn't really that big of a gap considering we have 6 races left to go, so there's still a bit to go for that. In third place we have McLaren boys at 184 points. They have a gap of 86 points to first place, and then you have Williams in 4th, Haas in 5th, Ferrari in 6th, 7th Red Bull, Toro Rosso 8th, Mercedes of 9th, and the Alfa Romeo Sauber of 10th.
So the championship is still looking very, very on.
Healthy.
And
very healthy, I'd say.
It's actually to say of all 4 divisions, you know, if the Drivers' Championship is looking a little bit more like coming to a conclusion, at least the Constructors are still looking very open. Because if I recall, I know the F2 boys are still doing really good between the battle of the Racing Point and the Renault. I know in F1, it's between Haas and, I think, Williams, because of the performance of Dyslexic. And then in F3, it's definitely looking like Moronix is going away, or Hamilton. But Rhombus has, in the Mercedes, has been making a bit of a climb lately. So Rhombus is scoring some good points for Mercedes. At the time, Easton was putting pressure on. So right now, it's hard to say with F3 how the Constructors is going to go, but it's still looking quite open. And then we come to F4. The battles of F4 is actually still really intense, because I think Red Bull Racing only lead against Alfa Romeo by like maybe a few points. So the closest battle in terms of constructors lead is between Alfa Romeo and Red Bull in F4.
Yeah, that's exactly what we want to see. Alfa Romeo as well in F4, represented by who's in Tidgosaurus?
McCracken and Tidgosaurus.
McCracken. Speaking of McCracken, it's McCracken's birthday yesterday. Happy birthday, McCracken.
It was his birthday? Oh, happy birthday, McCracken.
So, gotta give a shout out to the McCracken boy, as we all know, McCracken. So, here's a little fun fact about McCracken. I think I told you about this before, but McCracken actually has racing blood in him. He's born with motorsport blood in him, you could say. His uncle's actually Colin McRae, the late Colin McRae.
You've heard it now, folks.
There you go. There you go. Think about McCracken.
So if you wanted to hear fun
McCracken.
facts, yeah. So, well, if I played dirt against McCracken and he actually destroys me, then yeah, then I can sit there and go, yeah, it's confirmed.
I think he's doing a science
right.
job. You know, science senior versus science junior. I think that's what he could be doing there.
My dad
But,
actually had a nickname for Carlos Sainz before he passed away.
what was it,
Every
putting them
time
all?
we watched a Grand Prix, no, it was Carlos the Jackal. He called
Really?
him that. That was Sainz's nickname given to him by my dad. Like ever since Sainz got into Formula One, literally he just called him Carlos the Jackal.
Jesus.
Like, you know, I don't know why Dad called him that, but like he just, like, I think I asked him when I was younger, but like I just forgot. But he just called him that.
Right, okay.
But I don't know why he called him that. But that's a little secret Dad can take away with him. So
Yeah, because Carlos Sainz, the only thing I really remember about Carlos Sainz was he didn't he kill a few pedestrians, didn't he? He knocked down a few of them during a rally. Yeah, Sainz. Was it Sainz? Back in like the early 90s. There was a big crash.
Oh, because is it Carlos Sainz Jr.?
Senior, I'm talking of. Yeah, Junior's
Oh,
in
so
F1,
I thought you meant actual Sainz. I was like, how's he in a car now?
No. Yeah, Carlos Sainz Senior when he was rallying for Toyota back in the early 90s.
I think that maybe why my dad gave him that nickname. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, because he killed quite a few. Well, obviously accidental, but that's.
Oh, okay, then.
Yeah. Because
Dad would get a slap in the wrist if he was still here. Just be like, naughty.
Because
bad nicknames. Leave it to Potter.
When I grew up, my dad used to work in a Toyota garage, so I always grew up as a massive Toyota fan. So when Toyota came to F1, like, what was it, 20 years ago, whatever, I was like, oh yeah, Toyota and F1, that's class. Obviously, they had a quick exit though after that, but even during rallying, loved Toyota until they got that ban for the
Wait, so what happened with Toyota in Formula 1? Did they go bust, or did they leave in their own accord?
I think left on their own accord, just wasn't working out for them. You know yourself, F1, it's a money pit. You have to pour so much into it. Look, even with Renault is now talking about reconsidering their options as well in Formula 1 after this whole...
You're joking?
Yeah, this came out maybe yesterday or something like that. You know, the whole debacle that's coming out about the brake bias settings they have, or the brake assists is what they have for the drivers. Like, it's not an illegal system. It's always been in place. It's only because it's come out in the media, Renault are getting like a bad rap for it. And because of this negative attention, they're kind of looking at themselves going, is it worth the bother? We just pull out next season. And to be honest, Renault this season, in real life, they poured massive amounts of money into Renault, and they're like, look at the drivers they got. They got Ricciardo. Like, how much would Ricciardo cost to pull them away from Red Bull? I reckon that was money that pulled them away.
Oh, and there we go.
Yeah, and it's not there from the car. Just isn't there. They're not performing. They're not getting the points. They're not even beating McLaren. McLaren looking a lot better now these days in real life. The good news is everyone goes through. Yay!
Yeah, so no one goes out. And I was going to say, Ricciardo probably has one of the main things to, like, as a good title to him, is I think he's like the king of like fashion, because like, I'm not going to say the results of the race, but have you seen his shoes? His shoes were incredible, man. Like, all the drivers actually, including the leader of the championship currently, Lewis Hamilton, he actually complained publicly on his social media that he's actually really angry that you're only allowed one helmet change in the season. Because, you know, some people like to save their helmet change for, like, a special occasion. Mm-hmm. If you guys haven't seen the race already, Sergio Perez has done a special helmet for the Mexican Grand Prix. Daniel Ricciardo changed his helmet a little bit for Singapore. Lewis Hamilton changed his helmet for the 125th year of motorsport for the Mercedes.
Excuse me.
As a provider and as a team. So everyone has had their own unique helmets.
Yeah, I wish we had more designs in the game to do more unique stuff or put our own stuff on. It'd be pretty cool. Okay, so Q2, this is where the fun happens. We're going to lose 5 drivers in 14
Magic Man.
14 minutes. The Magic Man's out.
The Magic Man and Stretch are on the soft compound tyres.
Mm-hmm. Just checking the chat here as well. Vettel's after going, wow, 2000 was 20 years ago. It's like, when that stuff hits you, it's like, yeah, it's 20 years ago. Like, was even, yeah, I think, was Toyota back I'm going to quickly Google it actually. When was Toyota in F1? Because I think it was around that time.
Toyota left Formula One, I think, in about 2008.
2008 is when they left,
Roughly
was
about
it?
that. 2007 to 2008, roughly that mark.
They entered in 2002, according to Google. The best result was 4th in 2005 constructors. Yep, 2009 they announced a withdrawal. So it didn't stay long at all.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, it's only 7 years. If you wanted to say technically, Minardi is still in the sport because Minardi are now Toro Rosso. So, you know.
Yeah.
Load of long-running teams.
Minardi.
So
that's crazy you mentioned that, because you mentioned Minardi, all I think is Fernando Alonso in his first drive.
Yeah, that's
crazy.
Say, like, the one, he did really amazing back in the day in his Minardi. You know, working as a backmarker team in reality because they're trying to fight against, you know, everyone else while dealing with, at the time, the powerhouse Michael Schumacher.
Mm-hmm.
So this is your cue, Bodder, because I'm about to do an onboard with the Magic Man. So
yep,
you go
and
get
I'm going
that
to the
drink,
fridge,
my friend.
I'm going to the fridge right now.
There we go. So on board with the Magic Man. So he's going down the start-finish straight, down into turn 1. And this is where the famous accident between Max Verstappen and the 2 Ferraris happened. So going through turn 3, now going through the 4th corner, the Republic Boulevard. They go into turns 5 through Raffles Boulevard. He's on the back of Skunk Burner. I think Skunk Burner's actually on a lap as well. Oh, and he's had to back off because they're both on a lap. So I'm going to have to transfer to Skunk Burner, who actually canned in the lap. So I don't know if Skunk Burner actually held the lap. You know, he wasn't actually doing it. But unfortunately, that's led to Magic Marks stopping his lap. So Senna is actually still going. I've actually lost track where Senna is. Actually, I think he's now going to the Nickel Highway. Oh, yep, yeah, he is. He's now on Stamford Road. Oh, he goes a bit wide. On St Andrews Road. And soon we're coming to the Anderson Bridge. No, we're not going to the Anderson. Oh, yeah, sorry, no, my lap was off. But Senna, what's he going to do? Yeah, they have some corners, but unfortunately, because I was on board with Magic Marks and Skunk Burner and him had a little moment. It made him back off the lap. Yeah, so they both, I mean, Skunk Burner had no ERS on, so obviously it means his battery's been turned off for a while and he had a fully charged battery. But the Magic Man actually really struggled to try and get past him, and that caused him to stop. And that put me through a little bit of a loop because I was trying to do an onboard with these guys, and then they just, you know, I lost track on whereabouts I was.
Yeah, no harm. Still have lots of time to go back and put on a new set of tyres and go again to Bitsy. 37.8.
That is actually a really good time on the medium. So Mr. T's just said to the F2 boys, hey, guess what? I may be F4. I showed that I was doing all right in Monza, and I'm going to take this here in Singapore. So if Mr. T can back up that lap with a good time set in Q3, that's if he makes it into Q3, because remember, most of the grid haven't even set a lap time, so he can't say he's safe. But for the moment, he looks like he's probably going to be okay for a while.
Look at Brundle as well. Brundle's up to having a 38.6 on hards. So he could easily hit the Bitsy's time, I'd say, on mediums, but he's just kind of playing easy with the hards, going out with the hard too. Well, it's like, if he needs to go again on mediums, he probably can. That's a good lap from Brundle, so it is. Our man who prays for rain every week. We got a mention on Twitter earlier on, so he did.
Oh, I think Mr. T had a little bit of a moment there, because I just noticed his car came out of a slip road, unless he was just pulling over to let Schumacher go by.
Yeah, I think he's pulling over for the haze.
For the haze. Let's remember back, probably one of the most controversial moments of Formula One, the Nelson Piquet Jr. Incident in 2008, when Piquet revealed that he was forced to ordered to crash into the wall to bring out a safety car to... Oh, Shane, let's have a quick look at Shane before I carry on. He looks like he's pushing for a good lap. Remember, Shane actually got 2 podiums in RSF1 in the F2 season when he wasn't even sure he was only going to get a second. Shane puts himself into P5 behind Petronas. So could we see Shane potentially fight on for a 3rd podium in RSF1? We don't know. We'll have to keep an eye on him. But, you know, I hope he does a really good race. And same to all the other lads. But, you know, anything could happen. Shane could potentially win the race for all we know.
Yeah, potentially. Imagine what that would do for Racing Point. If Racing Point got another 1-2 or 1-3 or something like that. That would certainly put them up into constructors.
Yeah, I've got Schumacher is going through the first sector now. I'll leave an onboard with Schumacher. But to finish up what I was saying, probably been one of the biggest controversial moments when Piquet crashed, because it needed to bring out a safety car to allow Fernando Alonso to stay out in front and actually go on to win the race for the Renault team. And I think it was after that moment, when it finally got revealed by Nelson Piquet Jr., the original team principal of Renault was immediately fired after pulling such a moment.
Was that Flavio? Am I thinking of something else?
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, I think it was Flavio.
Yeah.
It's me, Flavio.
It's me, Flavio. We obviously played too much Assassin's Creed and Mario. I love that bit in Assassin's Creed 2. Your man just jumps out of nowhere and goes, "It's me, Mario."
It's like, who are you? It's me, Mario. It's like, Uncle. That is actually probably one of my most favourite moments of Assassin's Creed 2, because I'm just like, look at that plug-in. Nintendo would be proud. Josh Season 4 is out of Q2. He's retired from the session.
Let's have a check on race director. Incident,
Schumacher
damage.
He crashed, and Schumacher, he goes into the top spot for Q2 on the mediums, a 136.7.
Solito, look at that time, 36.7 on mediums. Good lap by Roberts.
But Season 4 has left the session, so...
Season 4 crash, unfortunately.
It's bad luck there for Season 4, but, you know, the night is still young. Remember, Skunkburner was like 12th, 13th, won the race, so don't say it's over until it's over.
Brundle is sitting in the pits with brand new mediums on ready to go, just in case. He might not need them. But there's a number of drivers haven't set laps yet. Like, look, man with the cash sitting there with softs at the minute. Is he going to run softs?
And a few cars sitting pretty at the moment is the cars in 5th and 6th place of Jake Moore and Shane. They've got the hard tyres on. They've done decent laps, but do keep in mind, Man with the Cash is probably one of the handful of quickest drivers, you know, because Schumacher, Brundle, Magic Marks, Man with the Cash. Speaking of the Magic Man, he just looks at Schumacher and, you know what, mate? If you're Schumacher, I'm going to be hacking him, because right now I'm just going to put you back down to second.
Now Skunk is sitting on the pits going, that's not going to be happening. Wait to see, now Skunk will be out of the pits in 2 seconds.
If the Man with the Cash doesn't get back into the session, Man with the Cash might not be able to go out in time. He's
4.5 minutes to get back in session. We can't send him invite because we're only spectating, but hopefully he can join back in via someone else's game tag.
It's going to be very, very close for the Man with the Cash. If he gets back in now, he might just do it.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah. Who else we got there? Patron
there he is.
A nice lap as well. Yeah, nice one. Racing Jason, he's back.
Yeah, I was about to say, Man with the Cash, previously known as Josh of Dosh, and now known as Racing Jason. It's just like, guys, Bodder is a nicknaming machine that can't be stopped. You know, he always makes sure he's oiled up and ready to go and ready to hand out a nickname.
Well, actually, it's funny enough now I mentioned about oiled up. I actually went to when you were doing that onboard lap, I went over to the fridge, got out a can of Guinness, poured into a glass, and now fresh pint of Guinness now in front of me for SF2 race. Go on, the boys.
I was at work today, and I had to like deal with a large crate of Guinness, and I was just like, what the F2 boys would do for this crate of Guinness.
Oh,
it was on special offer as well, so you know, like cheaper, even better.
Myself, Peppermeat, Bamba Viking, Tor, Timmy, Cross Kerry, we all would have tore through that crate, man. Tore through it.
I would like, as soon as you lads walk into the shop, would just be like, incoming! And then just... It will almost be like an F1 pit stop, you know, just as you take the Guinness and a new one back in.
What do we have at the minute? Told you, Skunk's on out, that brand new mediums. I said, I told you 2 minutes ago.
Tarap is, yeah, Skunk's doing it, and Tarap has put himself up into 10th place, but I don't know if it'll be enough for Mex Tarap to do it. Man with the Cash was sitting on the softs ready to go out, but Racing Jason, he's decided to say mediums actually, I'm going to play it safe, because if he can get into Q3, he'll start on the mediums. If he doesn't make it into Q3, he will have the freedom of choice.
Yeah, and he's no slow driver, Racing Jason. He's a fast driver. He can get up there into Q3, he can do his stuff, like, you know.
I love how we're calling him Racing Jason more than
I'm sorry, dude. It just slips out of the tongue. I'll tell you what, though, right? This is my first season doing commentary, and I never thought, like, in all the nights me thinking about doing commentary and all that type of stuff, going, no one would ever change their gamer tag if I gave him a nickname. And lo and behold, you know, the driver formerly known as Josh with the Dosh has now changed his name to the Man with the Cash.
Man with the Cash.
I can't believe that.
Still to this day, I do it again now.
Yeah, Racing Jason. How about that?
Racing Jason. Oh, that floor pan, his car is quite low, because I've seen a lot of sparks coming out from underneath the Ferrari there from the floor pan. So it's going to be interesting. But what will be interesting is actually the racing in Formula...
Here's one to watch.
What's going on?
Stretches on softs. He's the only driver to set a lap on softs, I think. Everyone else on mediums
was really, really happy recently after scoring a podium in Belgium. So
yeah,
I think WR Stretch he's hit his quota, you know, for the season. He wanted to try and score as much points as he can. The title fight between Renault and Racing Point is still there. So I think Brundle had a really bad race back in Belgium, and Stretch coming third actually picked up the loss. So Stretch has done really good. I'd say he's been a really, really good teammate for Brundle. I know Stretch hasn't had the best luck in the season. Brundle doesn't look like he goes faster.
No, sorry, just starting his lap. I think that's what he was doing. Sorry, I'm cycling through him to see who's next over the line.
Stretch is definitely a good teammate. I'd say he's a good lad. He's done his absolute best in the mixed of F2 guys, but I still think, you know, Stretch can definitely put himself up there, and he does in P5.
Nice one, Stretch. Absolute gentleman as well.
Stretch is in Q3.
Time him up to the podium. Yep, we're all starting to come through now.
Man with the Cash, Racing Jason. He's on the lap. He's pushing with all his might to try and get
what's
faster.
Gonna do? Come on, let's go. Oh, come on! I told you.
36.3.
I told you. Just as time expires as well. Look at that.
Oh my god! And the best part is...
Oh, Brundle needs to do it now. Look, it's all on Brundle. Everybody's out.
Brundle's actually in the danger zone. Mine and Bob's favourite song. We're claiming that. So...
Man with the Cash. He put across the line. Last corner. Here we go. What's Racing Jason got?
Crosses the line. P6.
Whoa.
He makes it into Q3.
Okay, that puts
Patronus in the danger area.
Patronus.
Mr. T is out of Q2, so we've got to keep an eye on Brundle. He's going around the last couple of corners. Can Brundle put himself out of this predicament? Rounds the last corner, and he does it!
Patronus
Second place!
Patronus out. Patronus on the in lap, so he's out. Shane's out. Tarp's out.
Looks like WR Stretch and RSF1 Senna are the couple of drivers that I still haven't crossed the line to finish the session are going on their in-laps. Jake Moore just bites the bullet going into Q3. He's literally, there's nothing more scarier and more relieving when the session ends and you see how close you were of being knocked out.
It's scary.
And Jake Moore. Yeah, I've had my moments in F1 before, like I think it was my debut race actually, when I was in like 10th place, and then like I was thinking, right, I might be okay, and I got knocked down to like 12th, and I was just like, ah. But like, there's nothing more scarier than being in the danger zone.
Yeah, just like Jake Moore, you mentioned, like he was chatting me on. He says if it's a dry race, he says he'll feel quick. He says tire deg is a big issue on the mediums, so he's gonna have to mix up his strategy. He doesn't really know what he says, but he says this is interesting. He told me, he says he expects rain at any point, because he says any practice race he has done throughout the week, at least at one stage, either during qualifying or during the race, it has rained at one stage. But now we're getting reports.
Oh, we had a weather report actually.
Yeah, it's all dry apparently. But it's not interesting though. It's not interesting that like all the practice races he's done all week, there's been this one wet part of it.
So
Guinness is so smooth.
But we can't really rule it out, because you know sometimes things change.
Yeah, exactly. It's like in F3 last week in Monza for myself and F3 guys. It said, you know, we're going to have rain for 20 minutes, like half the race. And then as soon as you're starting, you know, lap 1, it's like, okay, rain's going to go in like 10 minutes. You're like, what? You told me like, you know, 2 minutes ago, it'd be like 20 minutes. Now you're saying 10 minutes? What?
That's the thing. Jeff is really indecisive. It's just like,
yeah.
I remember when it was, it was back in, I think it was Austria. We began on the it was Hungary. We began on the harder compound tyres, so mediums, hards. Before we carry on with that, we'll go on to the conclusion for the F2 guys. So I'll let you go over the drivers eliminated.
Okay, so the guys we have lost, unfortunately, is Patronus, Tabitsi, Shane, and Mextarp, and Josh Season 4, who crashed the car, unfortunately. So everyone else is true. I suppose that's a good thing.
And the top 3 will be Skunk Burner on top of a 136.3, Brundle 136.4, and Magic Man with a 136.6. So there's not really much separating the top few.
No. Turn 1 though here in the race will be interesting. Whoever gets that inside could pull away. Yeah,
I was going to say, you do remember one of the most famous incidents of the Turn 1 instance was between Max Verstappen, Sebastian Vettel, and Kimi Raikkonen going into Turn 1, because Max got sandwiched between the two cars going into the open, and then suddenly you got like flying McLarens and more Red Bull problems. I think that was 2017 actually.
Yeah.
The days.
Tell you what, while we're waiting for people to get their cars set up for Q3, will we get maybe one of the guys who got dropped into the party? Maybe have a bit of a chat with them, see how they got on.
Yeah, feel free. I'll give you the freedom of choice. You know, I'll keep an eye on these boys here. I'll let you be the man to decide who gets
if you listen to us, get in here.
Hey, there you go, Patronus, you're up. So we'll have a quick interview with Patronus going into Q3, so we can get a little insight from it. It's almost like sort of like you and I have just turned into, you know, Crofty and Brundle, you know, and you know we talk to Christian Horner or anyone else. So almost like
I heard Shane doing this like 2 weeks ago, and I was like, that's a fantastic idea. So we must start doing that. But obviously, yeah, if one guy's feeling the comfort doing it, then do it. If not, don't worry about it. But Patronus, if you're there. If not, don't worry about it.
So you've got Schumacher, Jake Moore, Pie Eater, Magic Marks, Senna, Man with the Cash, and Skunk Burner on the outlaps. Currently right now, Brundle, John Digweed, and Stretch are still waiting to go out. So it's looking very interesting for Q1. I'm having a look. There you go. I was going to say, my game was being a little bit weird until I was hitting RB to like change the camera modes. It just wouldn't let me. I'm just like, come on! And it was just being very, very horrible to me, and I don't appreciate that. Fix the game, Cody's. I'm joking. There was
your prediction here for Q3, Primus. What do you reckon? 1, 2, and 3.
It's going to be hard to say. I definitely know Skunk is going to try and fight for the top spot.
Oh,
I know the battle is definitely going to be between the two mates, Skunk and Marks. And I'm going to have to say, Schumacher possibly. I know Brundle's really quick, but then again, remember Schumacher did set the time in Q2 on mediums, so it's hard to say. Schumacher might definitely go on top. I definitely know it's between Marks and Skunk, but I'm really hard to say the third spot between Skunk and Schumacher. No, Skunk, Brundle and Schumacher.
It's not the great thing though with F2. We have 4 guys, and we mentioned all the names. We don't know which one's going to pull away with it. In the meantime, Patronus has joined us. Patronus, do you want to include your audio? Well, how get your feel of what happened in Q2 and how he went out?
Well, I'm starting 11th, so I suppose that's one positive in the first place. I just got no pace around here. I love the track, just don't have no pace. Never have done.
Yeah, I remember you were saying this to me earlier on. You just said like your setup was just all over the place and you just weren't happy with it at all. But you do love the track though. Do you reckon it'll come to you during the race?
I doubt it.
Dude, come on.
I mean, I'm optimistic. You know, I'll fight. I'll push. I've never been good around here. Well, not good. I've never had pace around here, should I say? So it's just one of those tracks.
Will be a big thing tonight. Do you reckon?
Yeah, I think it will be. I mean,
obviously,
especially coming out that last corner.
You don't have to answer this question if you want to keep these cards close to your chest. But what's your strategy going to be, considering we've got a dry race coming up and you've got because you were knocked out in Q2, you do have the freedom of choice, a 1:35.8 set by Schumacher. So what would your preferred tyre choices be in the race?
I'm
give it away.
At the moment. I'm undecided at the moment. I really am. I don't know if I want to start on hards or mediums. I really don't know.
Okay, let me ask you another question. Do you reckon we're going to see a safety car? Skunk burner 35.4.
John Digweed's actually retired. Sorry to butt in, but John Digweed's actually out of Q3. He's starting P10.
Okay. No, in this game.
That's your buddy?
Probably not.
No, might see a VST though. You wouldn't know. You wouldn't know.
I would love to see a safety car. Don't get me wrong. You know, but they seem very scared to come out, should I say.
Okay, the laps are starting to come true now. Look, thanks very much for that, Patronus. We just said we'd get you in real quick and just ask you, see how that went for you. Hopefully hopefully we'll hear you on the podium.
Yeah, best of luck in the race, mate.
Thank you very much.
Take it easy, dude.
Thanks for the invite. Bye.
Bye.
Looking very close there between the two buddies, Skunk Burner and the Magic Man.
I did say it was definitely going to be a battle between them two, but Schumacher has definitely put himself up there. Brundle has still yet to go out in the pits. Do we know what's happened to John Digweed?
I do not. Let me have a quick look at the race director here real quick, and it is unfortunately terminal damage for John Digweed.
So he did unfortunately crash on track to try and set his lap time.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting, and it's going to be very weird for me to shout, and it's Schumacher going on the line, because I'm just going to turn it into Ari Money. Just, oh my God, it's Brundle, and it's Alan Prost. Just got to do that very light car. His voice is very had a very funny undertone to it, and it's Schumacher.
Oh, so it's such an iconic voice, though. Of F1.
Oh yeah,
such an iconic voice. If you're wondering why Brundle came out and then went back into the pits again, guys, I think he invalidated his lap, and I think he might have done like maybe the last turn or something like that. So that means it's this lap and next lap. So you might as well just come in and get used to that softs and go back out again. So he is kind of the danger zone though at the minute. Well, it's not really danger zone, but he should be up there, right?
He's in a very brisk spot in the moment, because do keep in mind, oh, man with the cash puts himself P4. Good man.
Nice one, Jason.
Nice one, Jason. Pie Eater P6 as well. He split the Red Bull. But yeah, Brundle is not necessarily in a danger zone, but it is a very, very risky spot, because you're starting near the midpoint. And again, we have some people win from the midpoint, but the midpoint is a very, very scary position to be in case there is an incident. We cannot say there won't be one. There could be one, there probably won't be one. But the thing is if you're in the back or in the middle, you do have the ability to react depending on whereabouts the accident happens. If it's in the front, the people at the back will probably have a better advantage to react in case of an incident. But if it happens in the middle, then that completely changes everything.
Exactly. Like, no, me in F3, I'll certainly be mid-pack, if not a bit lower half of the mid-pack. But I've kind of gotten used to it.
Bodder.
I've kind of gotten used to it now. It's kind of cool to start mid-pack because you're just, it literally turn one, elbows out. Like, I was ready to go 4 wide into turn 1 in Monza last week, but I was like, okay, if Mark's to my left, I have whoever it was on my right, and they had another Ferrari coming up on their right side, so it was like 4 wide into 1 in Monza. No, I'll back out of it. Thankfully I did though. I wasn't having any of that. Camo's in the chat, and he's looking for a wave from you.
I don't know how I'm going to actually wave. I mean, I can
just stand up real tall.
I'm joking.
Really tall. Wave your hands, just like that. There you go. Wave your hands. Big wave. I think he wants a Mexican wave. We do a Mexican wave.
I think my brother's now looking at me with disgust. Because he's right. Look, I'm in the conservatory, and in front of the conservatory door is the dining room table, and he's eating his food, and he's looking behind me, behind him, and he's just seeing me waving, and he's thinking, like, I'm gonna need to have to take him out to a field, you know, of mice and men. Just come on, Shade. I'm gonna have to take you to the fields, boy.
Okay, so everyone's going back into the pits now. I think everyone's going to wait for another minute or two and then probably head out. At this moment, I just want to give a shout out, if that's okay, Primus.
Go for it, mate.
Yeah. I just want to give a shout out to the Virtual Racing Academy. For anyone who doesn't know, the Virtual Racing Academy is like a team, an esports team, if you want to say that, from Mondello in Ireland. And they had a race, a virtual race, obviously. I think it was back in April. It was the virtual Leinster Trophy. For anyone who doesn't know, Leinster Trophy in Ireland, it's highly prestigious. Senna won it back many years ago. So obviously, drivers, upcoming Irish drivers, have obviously tried to win that. But we just want to give our best regards to Keith Dempsey. So he'll be competing in the FIA Motorsport Games in Rome next weekend. This is actually the inaugural esports, I suppose you could say. Esports kind of a bad name, not really a bad name, but it's kind of like this is the first time that the FIA are kind of officially hosting a virtual race, you could say, a sim race, and Keith Dempsey is going over from Ireland to represent Ireland. Obviously, at this event, not only will be Ireland, be England, Germany, France, all these different countries from all over the world be represented.
Do you think the Formula 1 esports champion Brendan Lee, he's actually a 2-time champion, do you think Brendan Lee might get into that?
Realistically, no.
Oh.
Because Keith Dempsey used to actually race cars. Like from what I've seen with the esports guys, they do like a 25% race, and sure half them could be used assists. You know, the guys with a VRA, they use no assists. If you said to me use half traction control, or you know, we use ABS, they would just laugh at you straight away, because when they say sim, they mean 100% sim.
Fully sim racing.
Fully sim racing. Like, some of their setups is absolutely out of this world, so it is. But hopefully he goes over, does a good job and represents Ireland well. So shout out to Keith Dempsey.
Best of luck to Dempsey there in his race. And we will have to get back to Q3 for the moment, because it looks like we're on the final minute mark for the session. So as it stands, the only car that's not going to make it into the end of the session to set a good time is John Digweed, because he is out of the session due to terminal damage. Meanwhile, Brundle being the only car that's not set a lap time, he is currently on his lap. Man with a Cash is going to push, really, because he's on his flying lap now. Everyone else is now trying to begin theirs. As
he did improve.
Does he improve? No, nope. I think he might have invalidated the lap time, because I noticed no time improved.
Senna's next one through in the Red Bull. Let's see if our compatriot can do in the Red Bull. Senna stays 7th. Did he invalidate? I wonder about that, maybe. Let's see who's next through.
Maybe he might have just lost a little bit of time in the sectors.
Here's one to watch. The Renault Brundle.
Here he is. He's going around the last corner. Can Brundle put himself up the top spot? He went wide, and he's going to get P6. That's definitely not going to be good for Brundle. I imagine he's shaking his head in frustration at that moment. Meanwhile, the Magic Man, Skugburner, Schumacher, Man with a Cash, Jake Moore, Paita, Senna and Stretch will be doing their laps, because Brundle obviously has only just finished his lap and he's backed off to do another. Magic Man actually went a little bit wide there, going out one of the corners. So it's definitely going to be close. Skunkburner apparently on an outlap.
Don't know how that's going to work. Stretch stays 9th,
And Stretch
unfortunately.
stays P9. Still a Q3 start for Stretch. It's nothing to shake the head at. It's
Schumacher is
still a
about
good
to go under the bridge.
Get a hold of Schumacher. So Schumacher pulling it.
Jake Moore.
Schumacher. Oh.
Oh, what can Jake do? Oh, it's looking very close. Does not
Oh,
improve.
Jake stays P5. No, he did improve. I think he invalidated the lap time. And Schumacher takes provisional pole with a 1:35.2. I think Jake Moore was half a second down on his time, or up on his time. Like, he was going really quick, but I think he might have just invalidated at last moment. So Jake Moore could have actually potentially have gotten into 4th place. Skunkburner puts himself on top. Magic Man starting 3rd. He's backed off the lap. Magic Man will not be continuing to finish the lap. Meanwhile, Paita puts himself in P4, and it's just put the man with the cash down to P5. So good run there from Paita. He actually starts on the top 2 rows for the race start.
That's fantastic from Paita, considering, you know, he was like no knock on the guy, but he used to be getting knocked out in Q1 at the start of the season. Now look at him, he's competing in the 2nd row at Q3 here in Singapore. I was going to make a comparison there. Skunkburner, he's like the Undertaker in the wrestling. He just appears out of nowhere, doesn't he? Like, I think Skunkburner is in 5th or 6th, whatever. And literally last minute, pulled it through. There you are. There's a lap. Like, we know Magic Mark is fast. We know Schumacher Roberts is fast, but Skunkburner just literally pulled it out of the bag. Like, we know that the Magic Man has a few tricks up his hand, but Skunkburner.
Paita actually is a really good recovery, considering in Q1 he almost crashed out doing a Grosjean, going out the pits and then just boop into the... Oh, as I made that joke and made the boop noise, his AI crashed into the back of Senna's car. And here's the worst part. Even after the session's over, if the AI crash and they're out, that could actually potentially affect your start, because they're all giving nice little love taps to each other.
Yeah, to be honest, that bug was still in the game last year, maybe the year before. But like, it's the risk you run if you're out there last minute. You know, if you know you're on a down lap, you're not going to set a better time. Just bring it to the pits, save your car.
Right,
you're
so
done
that
for
was Q3. So that I hate to say how quick the season's ending, Potter, because
too quick,
it's fun
guys.
every
Too
week.
quick.
So
tell you what,
to go over the top 10. Go on, Potter. I'll let you quickly.
No, we'll go over the top 10. At the back we have John Digweed in 10th, Stretch in 9th, 8th is Senna, 7th in Brundle, 6th Jake Moore, 5th Man with the Cash, 4th Paisher, 3rd Magic Mark, 2nd Schumacher Roberts, 1st is Skunkburner. That's really interesting. What I was going to say, right, was we had such a crazy race for F2 last week at Monza in Italy. Like, literally a safety car with like 4 laps to go or something like that. That was an intense race. Like, I don't know if we'll see another race like that all season long.
I'm just going to say, it made me laugh because obviously you know Schumacher as Roberts, and then when you said his name, it's almost like you're like, Schumacher, and it was like, in brackets, Roberts.
Yeah, because some people might not know, you know.
It's just like almost like you've put his name in brackets there. But anyways, we're in the transition period between the qualifying and the race. So all the drivers are now going to go over their strategies and their tyre strategies, as well as changing their setups, just in case they have got a couple of setups. Because me, personally, I like to keep a race and a qualifying setup separate. Because obviously, in a race, you need to take into account of dirty air. So, you know, if you're going with a qualifying setup and you're getting dirty air, you're going to lose a load of grip and time.
Pi ___ just asked which one of the guys is the streamer. Well, that's Primus, and I put in there younger one because your voice obviously a lot younger voice than my oldie raspy.
I'm only 23, voice. You know.
Raspy voice.
I turned 20. Actually, here's a little fact. Actually, my birthday is actually going to be on an F4 race on Wednesdays.
I wonder if all the guys going to have to give you a little love tap and say happy birthday.
It's like
19 love taps in a race.
Just like everyone except for like one car that didn't even bother to do the tap, like finishes the race.
Tell you what, if you want to see love taps, watch F3 from last week at Monza. That was crazy. I think like first 2 laps I must got hit like 3 or 4 times. Oh man, crazy stuff. So it was like twice the car was nearly going sideways. You imagine me in the wheel slinging that thing around the corners. Oof.
I was going to say, you look like you're finding real pace in the wheel, actually. It's, I know it's a real difference between... well, no, yeah, you say no, but you got a podium the first time you used the wheel.
I started using the wheel about 18 months ago.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, your new wheel.
When you pedals, you mean?
It's like...
Which I sent back.
Well, you said back. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I thought you meant the fours ones, because I know you borrowed fours.
Yeah, so what happened was I broke my original one, my accelerator. Obviously, everyone knows because I like to go sideways. Yeah. Okay, buddy, you broke your accelerator. Oh. And then I got a Land of Tours for Belgium. That was great. I bought some online. They're fairly cheap, and they're the T3PA Pros. They're the ones a few of the guys on the league have. Great. Came, used them, and then I was kind of like going, it's missing a few parts. So I checked on the manual online. It's like, it's missing this part, this part, this part. So I brought them back to where I bought them. And the guys were like, oh, geez, sorry about that, because obviously it was a used one. So I just said, there, look, we'll just refund you the money. So now I've sent them back, and I've ordered a brand new pedals. So now I messaged Duffel earlier on today saying, I might not make Thursday for F3. I have to find out if my pedals come in time. But like, I might not get any practice done between here and now. And people are saying, well, dude, you could use the pad. The pad to me is like alien now compared to after using the wheel.
Well, either way, mate, you're still doing really good. You're driving spectacularly in F3. You know, with a broken wheel. What was DP Roberts said?
No, DPS racing.
Oh, DPS.
But my teammate in F3 is saying the new pedals changed him from Norris to Sainz. Yeah, Chuck Norris.
Chuck Norris once had a staring contest with the sun and won.
The other good Chuck Norris joke, don't we? It's great to see no red look.
I like Chuck Norris jokes.
Oh, you can't beat them. Can't beat them.
My science teacher back when I was in school had a real obsession. But my favourite has to be Chuck Norris once ate a Rubik's Cube and then pooed out the Allspark.
My wife told me a joke earlier on. She says, what's a penguin's favourite position to be in motorsport?
Oh, go on.
Pole position.
Oh, for God's sake.
Yeah, I know. She told me that, and I was, I'll mention it on the stream tonight. It was a really, really bad joke.
It's just like, as soon as she said that, we're getting a divorce.
Yeah.
It is worth it.
Dinosaur bought dad jokes have started. Yes, DPS, the dad jokes have started. And we have already
Patronus has readied up, and we are good to go.
Patronus is our host tonight in F2, so all well and good and dandy.
And the one thing we got to do, lads, it happens every single week. You'll love it massively. Yeah, he's clearing his throat. He's ready. We have to give it to Bodder for his world-famous formation laps. So I am going to hand off to him.
Well, I wouldn't say world. Okay. We'll say world famous for once. Okay, so unfortunately we don't have a full grid. We have 15 drivers, but starting from the back in 15th is Josh, season 4 as we call him. Terminal damage in qualifying. Hopefully he can make up those positions. It'd be nice to see him make up a few, but it looks like he's starting maybe.
I don't even think he's in his car.
No, I think he's in the pits for some reason. Anyway, that's weird. Okay, we'll move on. 14th is Max Tarp. He's our only Mexican representative tonight. He is starting last, I believe, 14th in the Ferrari. 13th we have Shane. Unfortunately, got knocked out in Q1. Shane had only had enough time to get his lap out to obviously progress into Q2, so mistake there by Shane. In 12th is Tabitzi. Got 4th, I think, last week in Monza. So serious potential there from Tabitzi. He can definitely improve on 12th position. In 11th we have Patronus in the first of the McLarens. Patronus joined us in a quick interview at the end of Q1. So he says not really happy with the setup. He likes the track, but the track just doesn't seem to be working for him. It's just not there for him. But look, hopefully keep his head down. We might see a safety car, see what happens. In 10th, we have John Digweed in the first of the Mercedes. John Digweed, I think, actually crashed out of qualifying as well. So already retired or something like that. Yeah, so look, we'll have to see how he gets on. Stretch, another fast driver we know can definitely move forward, is in the Renault. I think he got a podium maybe a few weeks ago, so he'll be looking to work on that. In 8th, we have RSF1 Senna in the Red Bull, another fast driver, so we do. In 7th, we have RSF1 Brundle. Brundle in the 2nd of the Renaults. Not really the best qualifying session for Brundle. We were kind of expecting to see him around 3rd, 4th maybe. It just wasn't there from the man who prays for rain every week. It wasn't coming from today. So look, we'll have to see what happens. In 6th, we have Jake Moore. Jake Moore. Remember last week? Pole on Monza, and then just the race to forget about. Such a fantastic qualifying. That one great lap. Just for the race, it did not work for him. So hopefully he'll be looking for his for redemption from that. In 5th, man with the cash, the driver formerly known as Josh with the dash. Racing Jason is now called. Hopefully he'll change his game again. No, I'm joking. He's not going to do his game. He shouldn't. Man with the cash in 5th in the Ferrari. 4th, we have Piater. It's so good to see Piater up there. I was saying in the middle of qualifying, it's kind of like the lower half of the start of the season. It's great to see him moving, progressing, getting a bit faster, getting a bit more pace here, competing with top guys. In 3rd, we have Magic Mark, the Magic Man, sitting on the outside. And then we have in 2nd is RSF1 Schumacher. Wherever he is. Maybe some of you are looking going, who's the Schumacher guy? Well, it's Roberts. It's Roberts on this Haas. And he will be starting right next to our pole sitter, Skunk Burner.
Skunk Burner sitting in an amazing position, and also another great formation laps done by Bodder. Skunk Burner will be in a good advantage, because do remember in Monza last week he had a bit of a trouble trying to fight his way through the grid and got the win. So could Skunk potentially get the start he wants? 5 red lights in the Singapore Grand Prix for F2, and it's lights out and away we go. And Skunk Burner gets off a really good run off the line, and Magic Marks makes his way up into 3rd place. Schumacher instantly challenges down the inside. Oh, there's a good battle already going into turn 1. And it looks like it's still going really good. Mr. T is currently moved up to 9th place after starting 12 and fighting the Red Bull of RSF1. They make contact a little bit though, I think. Did they make contact? Did they get to see the camera angle? It was so terrible.
Wheel to wheel, we're still good. I can see. Looks like
all the camera 5% down. Pite is in 3rd place.
Josh with the dash moving up, so he is. Piater's in 3rd.
And the Magic Man is still going down because he's being challenged by Jake Moore, who's also being challenged by RSF1 Brundle. And Mr. T is still fighting his way up the grid. He's on the back of Senna. Petronas still stays where he starts. Tarek moves up a position. Shane goes down. Then Stretch unfortunately suffers. And Man with the Cash has already got a 5-second time penalty.
That must have been a serious cut. I missed it, but it must have been a serious cut to get 5 seconds.
That's heavy.
Very heavy. Very, very heavy. Piater was sitting in 3rd. Great start for Piater.
Magic Marks has managed to fight his way back up. He got a very poor start. He fell down the grid. Obviously, remember, he started on cold tyres after having an incident with Piater, because they were the only two that was on the grid when Bodder was still going over the formation lap. So they both had a little disadvantage. But Piater moves up a position. Mark's gone down 1. Meanwhile, Schumacher is doing everything he can to catch Skunk Burner. Mr. T's fallen back down to 10th place, and John Digweed gets past him. And it's still a very close battle. Jake Moore is actually catching up to the Man with the Cash. He goes a bit wide down turn 1. I think Piater is actually on the gearbox of Schumacher. It feels very weird saying Schumacher, because obviously all the name changes. It's like,
Brundle's getting past Jake Moore. Oh, he's got him.
Oh, and they're still fighting. It looks like, because we've got no DRS at the moment, it's only really the potential slipstream. Jake's getting the run on Brundle, going back out of the straight. Jake goes down the inside. And what a move, and that's the Red Bull. Back in P6, and that's led Brundle to get immediately put under pressure by Senna. So good move from the Red Bull team. You know, he's defending well, and it's giving Senna the opportunity to try and make the catch up, and it's only up to Senna now to try and do it. Jake is still trying to hold P6. Man of the Cash that 5-second time penalty is definitely going to hurt, but he is going to do everything in his power to try and push as much as he can to nullify that penalty to the best of his capabilities. But Paita right now, he's done really, really well, because normally he doesn't get these kind of starts. You know, he, as you said, no disrespect to the man, he normally starts, you know, he gets knocked down Q1, but it's his best start, I'd say. Unfortunately, we've got a little bit of a glitch going on with the timing.
Timings, yeah.
It's saying like 1 minute 42 seconds off of Schumacher,
yeah,
like
it'll
behind.
fix itself in a second. It'll fix it. I'm just looking at Brundle looks to be driving very aggressively, because I think he knows, we know as well from watching it, he's not meant to be that far down. I think he wants to start moving forward faster, and he's putting tremendous pressure on Jake Moore. He'll be looking to make a move here, make on turn 1 on Jake Moore, and see what happens. DRS is enabled.
And race control has activated DRS, so we will see DRS now used in the straights after this lap. Well, no, not after this lap. It'll be here, because I thought they were on the straight that I've in the first sector. They're not. So Schumacher is going to have the DRS, actually. He's going to catch up to Skunkburner. Can Schumacher make the move on Skunk? Skunk got an amazing start in the beginning of the race. It's just up to Schumacher to try and catch up. Pite is falling down a little bit. I think John Digweed...
Yeah,
John Digweed's made the move on Senna. It's still side by side as Senna tries to go around the outside. Can John defend? Yep, John defends. That was a very good defence there by the Mercedes. And John loses the back end a little bit. And that gives Senna the opportunity to get back up to the side of the Mercedes. Red Bull versus Mercedes going into the next corner. And they're still side by side, they're touching. And it looks like John just had to back off because the battle was so intense. And it looks like Senna's now up into 8th place. Shane is now into 13th. Tarup is in 14th. Josh, unfortunately, did not start the race. So, unlucky to Josh season 4. But, you know, the race has already begun. And it looks like Magic Marks is all over the gearbox of the Mercedes of Paita.
Yeah, he's right there. You just seen them caught him in the last few corners. I wonder if he'll get him on the start straight. He's probably lining him up, so he is. Yeah, look, he's charging a bit of the battery. I reckon he'll be going full overtake mode now on the home straight and get to the DRS and overtake him into 1. That's my prediction.
Magic Man is knocking at the door, which is normally Racing Jason's little slogan, but the Magic Man is doing it today. And he's got the DRS. Schumacher is actually going to have the DRS on Skunkburner. Yeah, I was going to say, Brundle is definitely pushing like crazy to catch up after, unfortunately, suffering a really bad start, you know, from qualifying, because he was hoping to really get up into the top spot with the others, you know, maybe in the top 5, but he didn't even make that. So Brundle was trying to salvage what had been a very, very
here we go, Magic Mark. Oh, looks inside, does not take it. Paita holds position. Brundle gets past.
Oh, Brundle actually gets past Jake Moore. Jake Moore doesn't have the ability and the run to maybe try and fight back for the position, so Brundle takes 6th place.
Good job by Brundle, good overtake, but as I said, he'll want to get past that Red Bull, start moving his way up there, because he knows 7th position from the starting spot. He needs to improve on that if he wants to keep his championship hopes alive.
WR Stretch is actually a person who's gone on to the soft compound tyre, so a part of me thinks, did he... he started on the soft, so he's got a slight advantage over the rear running cars on the hard. But can Stretch keep the momentum going? He's locked up massively there going into that corner, so that's going to hurt Stretch's tyres. Meanwhile, Schumacher is actually closer to Skunkburner going into the last sector. This is mad!
Yeah, I reckon Schumacher will throw it in here now, maybe at the home straight. Get a bit of DRS. Look, he's charging the battery. Very, very good at Roberts. Roberts wasn't so good at maybe managing his DRS at the start of the season, but I think as the season's gone on, he's able to manage it a lot better now. Oh, just seems to lose a bit of time to Skunkburner.
Skunk's got the better run.
He's not going. We've seen that from Skunk time and time again, especially the last corner at Spain. When you and me were commentating on Spain, it just seemed like Skunkburner, that last corner, he just seemed to get like an extra, I don't know, gear or something like that. It's just able to get an extra push off it.
It looks like, though, in the first few couple of sectors, Schumacher is able to keep the gap between the two of them, but in the last sector, it's where Skunk actually manages to open the gap a little bit. So the battle is definitely close, but it's very hard to say what's going on. Meanwhile, Magic Marks...
Senna 60 inside, John Digby's going around the outside, and he gets the job done. Can he pull it in? Oh, he does.
The Mercedes stays in
was a bit
front.
wide though. Oh, wild!
Ooh,
He went very
and
loose.
he's struggling,
Very
and
loose.
has allowed Mr. T to get into the rumble between the three of them. So
Rumble
Mr.
in the
T is all
jungle.
over the gearbox. Yeah, it's the rumble in the jungle. That's that's actually quite good. But the rumble in the jungle is still going on because Mr. T is actually one of the hard compound runners, and Patronus has actually joined in the rumble. It's a quartet of cars fighting through the mid sectors, and John is struggling to with these tyres because well, not the tyres really, but John is just struggling with the pressure that's being applied by the Red Bull.
Mr. T.
Mr. T is actually getting a little look onto Senna, and they make contact. Luckily, no damage there.
Look at Mr. T's fuel life. It's on yellow. Did he underfuel the car?
I think he might have, to get the extra speed on the hard compound tyres, I think he might have actually done that.
Okay.
Because I doubt he would have used up all that fuel in the start unless he took a bit of fuel out to give himself a slight weight advantage.
Possibly. The Singapore Rumble, huh? Rumble in the jungle. Singapore Rumble. Here we are. You heard it here, folks.
And looks like the gap between Skunkburner and Schumacher is opening. Meanwhile, the gap between Pie Eater and Magic Marks remains the same. And take a look at that, Mr. T. He's now going to be able to try and make the move on Senna, maybe in the straight. He's going to try and get a little look. He can't do it. He gets the better run. Senna, meanwhile, is struggling. DRS is active, and the Alfa Romeo is now starting to try and fly past the Red Bull. Can Senna try and get that? Oh, and Mr. T almost loses it on the straight. So that was a good little save there. He got a very big wiggle there, but Mr. T moves up to 9th place. Senna's still on the back of him. So the battle for the 9th place is still not over yet. Because if Mr. T can push...
The chat is in Georgie Bolos said, did they run with assist? Yeah, some of us actually do, some of us don't. But it's up to yourself, what assist you want to run. Oh, that Red Bull is
Patronus!
Patronus getting very loose. That McLaren, that work, as he said before, he said it, the setup is not there for Patronus.
And it looks like Shane's now trying to catch up on Senna. I think Senna's having problems.
Let's have a look at Senna's.
And he does!
Oh, he does. He's missed the end plate. He's missed his left end plate. That's the problem with Senna, you're right. Good call on that, Primus.
And Senna, just to add insult to injury, poor Senna's now got a 3-second time penalty
Look, the back of the car looks very
exceeding
loose.
track limits.
The back of the car looks very loose. I don't know if he not apply enough rear wing or something like that, maybe it's the car. He's coming in, he's going to have to pit. There he goes. Over the line.
And Shane is now up into 11th place, which allows him to push up.
Okay, so that's Senna on mediums. I reckon he's going to go with the hards. Can the hards
John's on Jake! John's caught up to Jake, and he's now putting the pressure on Jake Moore. Jake Moore gets a bad run there through that corner, which allows John to get a really good one, and the assistance of DRS, and John and Jake go side by side on the straight, but John gets the more speed coming through. He goes wide though,
very wide,
and that allows Jake and a beautiful
Jake
helicopter shot.
Oh no!
Oh, and Jake just can't make the move.
He's better off not making the move there, because if he did, you could have got pushed into the wall. Save your wing, man. You come back next round. Save your wing.
Meanwhile, Magic Marks is still unable to get past Pie Eater. Man with the cash, he's actually doing pretty well in 5th. You know, he's still got that 5-second time penalty. Brundle's starting to lose a little bit of time to the man with the cash. He's now 3.6 seconds behind him. John Digweed 5.6 seconds behind Brundle. And then John's actually made a gap already between him and Jake Moore. He only just made the move, and he's already 1.1 seconds ahead of Jake.
The Magic Man, Lampire. Will he make the move in turn 1? He seems to be sitting right behind him.
Can't do it just yet. Oh,
has DRS.
Got the DRS, but it looks like Pite is actually still too far away for him to make the move immediately. But it could happen in the next DRS zone. Because Magic Man's quite close. Brundle! He's got his 3-second time penalty. Here we go, going into the DRS zone. Can the Magic Man get the DRS to take Pite? He's actually getting close to the Mercedes. but it's not enough. He backs off, and that's used a valuable amount of his battery. Meanwhile, look at Pite, he's actually charging that battery nicely, but Magic Man's doing everything in his power to push to try and catch him.
Yeah, I think what Piper's doing, he's just sitting comfortably back from Schumacher in a way that he's not getting too much dirty air, but he's just following Schumacher's line and just kind of getting the general, I don't know, draft maybe off Schumacher. Look at that guy, he's just following Schumacher's line perfectly, so he is.
It's almost like mimicking.
Yeah.
And Pite is doing that very, very well. I can tell he's a wheel user because look at the control on the wheel.
Yeah, he's definitely, yeah. Yeah, you can tell by it straight away. Yeah, he's just following Schumacher around. He looks like he's under no pressure at all. But yeah, from what we're seeing, the Magic Man is all over Pyre, and he just wants to get past him. Just seems he can't.
So the battle is still looking very, very good. But it's some spaces are now starting to open up. But meanwhile, Shane is catching up to Patronus, and Patronus is still behind Mr. T. As it looks like Jake Moore, obviously because Senna's had that bad luck with that wing, it's put Senna out of commission for the battle in that quartet. So the quartet's gained a new Red Bull, and it's Jake Moore. Jake Moore is actually being challenged. Brundle
Patronus
is actually...
We have a spin! Red Bull went around, Jake Moore's around!
Oh no!
Sector 3.
What happened to Jake? He's lost both the end plates!
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I was riding on board, I think, with maybe Patronus or one the... Oh, sorry, it was Shane. I was riding on board, but next time I see this Red Bull facing the wrong direction.
Oh dear. And that's put Mr. T from 9th to 7th place because Man with the
Cash
Cash is also pitted.
Yeah, new wing, a set of
battle
hards for
continues.
Jake Moore.
So now Mr. T's got the clean air. But he's now being challenged by Patronus.
Patronus.
Let's get a look at Patronus.
Oh,
Patronus actually sends it round the outside, late braking.
Very late in the braking.
He almost got the job done. That would have been a beautiful move if he could, if Mr. T couldn't fully defend there. But Mr. T defended and responded quite appropriately to that attack. That was a tremendous attempt there from Patronus because that late braking was almost on point. That was perfect, nearly.
It was very Ricardo-esque, I would say. What do you call it?
Yeah, definitely Ricardo-esque, because, you know, late on the brakes, because obviously it's the least thing they expect you to do, and it almost was executed perfectly. Meanwhile, the Man with the Cash is now down to 11th place after pitting onto the hard compound tyre. And I remember Patronus said to us in the interview that the medium tyres will definitely be struggling for, you know, grip, because the wear is actually quite quick.
Yes.
Magic Man still can't get past Pieter. Schumacher's closed the gap to 1.5 seconds, now 1.6. It was a 2-second gap. And now Patronus.
Brundle's in.
Rain dance did not work, so Brundle's going to work to the dry.
Oh, John
Digweed's got a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane.
It does come very fast,
truly...
that line.
Oh, and it looks like we're getting a little bit of look there from Shane trying to make a move on Patronus, while Patronus was trying to get maybe a little look on Mr. T. Mr. T gets a little bit of a wide run there coming out of the corner. Mr. T is actually under a lot of pressure. We'll go on board because the battle is going to become 3 wide as Shane is gaining on Patronus, but Patronus is closing the gap between him and Mr. T. He can't pull the Ricardo-esque move. Mr. T defends. Pieter actually gets a 3-second time penalty. It will play perfectly into Magic Marks' hands.
Yeah, as Patronus is on the back here of Mr. T to Bitsy. I reckon Patronus' patience is going to be run out here soon enough. He'll have to make a move. He'll have to throw it in. We saw him. Senna's out!
Senna's out! Senna's out of the session. Could that be a safety car?
Let me check down race director. Let's see here. No. That's no terminal. There's no terminal damage. He actually retired. There's no terminal damage.
I thought he retired because I know how the track is. I thought it was going to be like a. It would be, you know, it would be a little bit easy to catch a ball. But if Senna retired from his own accord, I think Senna realised that, you know, unless something's popped up, you know.
Yeah, maybe he had to leave for whatever reason.
Retire nice and clean. Yeah,
that's fair enough. That's fair enough. We all have lives.
Yeah. I mean, like he did good. He pulled into the pits. Car's in there. So top job from Senna.
Yeah. The main one I can see here is Patronus. Patronus is not going to stay behind Mr. T for this long. He's going to make a move sooner rather than later. He'll want to get it up before pit
Meanwhile,
stops.
Shane is still all over the back of Petronas. Meanwhile, Paita is going to make a move on Schumacher on the straight. And it's side by side between Paita and Schumacher. And Paita makes
lots
the
of room.
move. Schumacher cannot respond.
No, crossover, sorry.
Well done to Paita.
Great move by Paita.
He gets ahead of Schumacher. And that's actually going to play very well for Magic Marks because it looks like Schumacher's trying to get past Paita. And that's allowing Magic Marks to get into the back of that Haas. So interesting already. The battle between Mr. T, Petronas and Shane does not change.
This is fantastic from Paita. This must be like one of his favourite tracks or something like that because it's just working out so well for him. We've a 3-car battle now for 2nd place. This is looking fantastic. Petronas still in the back of Mr. T. Mr. T is keeping that car like 4 lanes wide. Petronas cannot find a way past that Alfa Romeo at all.
And Paita is actually starting to open the gap a little bit between him and Schumacher.
Fair play to Paita. Nearly a second of a gap already on Schumacher. I
the
bet
Magic Man! He's getting a little look!
Yeah, he'll want to make a move on Schumacher.
That.
Yeah, because he knows if he gets past Schumacher, that's 1 less. Oh, Jake Moore!
Oh, Jake! Schumacher and Paita pits!
This means Magic Mark's been left out. He's going to get caught by the undercut. Same as Skunk Burner.
Skunk Burner Skunk Burner and Magic Marks might get caught by it. It depends on how the pitting goes.
No, it'll be okay for Skunk because he has the time difference. He's been made up that bit of a buffer, so he'll be okay if he pits. But Skunk Burner's going to be the big loser of all this. If he doesn't, he's going to have to respond straight away. Get in, get a new set of tyres. Those guys are going to undercut him, I reckon.
Meanwhile, ahead of Schumacher and Paita as they just come out of the pits, man with the cash for fastest lap of the race. The battle between Mr. T, Petronas and Shane will not change. The battle still commences. I think Petronas is actually going to try and make the move here. He's got a really good run. He can't. He's still not close enough to make the move.
It's not there. And you know what's going to happen soon now is Shane is going to start making a move on Petronas. He's going to basically maybe put the bumper to him, you know, in NASCAR is what they say. But like, it's like, okay, Petronas, if you're not going to make the move, I'll have to make the move for you. But Shane is going to have to press the issue.
Petronas is getting a look! He's smelling the opportunity.
Yeah,
he's trying to make Mr. T. He's probably trying to sell him the dummy there. Probably trying to make Mr. T try and react to it. But it looks like Mr. T is just struggling anyways with the grip and the pressure that's being applied, because do keep in mind, Mr. T isn't just under pressure from one car, it's 2, because Shane's directly right behind Petronas.
Yeah, but
so the battle between these 3.
But fair play to Mr. T, he's 2 cars behind him. Oh, he touched him!
Oh, and he touches him! Mr. T! Mr. T got hit! Well, luckily, Petronas has got no damage. The battle between the 3 of them still goes on. It's like Petronas may have tapped him and it'll be like a ooh moment, but it's not enough to phase him. He's still attacking the back of the Alfa Romeo.
He didn't put him sideways. No harm, no foul. Keep racing, guys. That's
it's just like a friendly tap, you know.
It's
just like saying hello.
Yeah, you know, like
it's like tapping the shoulder of a friend. Just
yeah, it's kind of like, you know, in NASCAR you have the front bumper, and that's what they always say, you know, put the front bumper to. Oh, this Petronas goes very wide.
Petronas goes wide, and that's going to let Shane to make the move.
Now. Yep, he does. He gives position to Shane. Okay, so the battle is on now for Shane and Petronas.
Mr. T's leading the Singapore Grand Prix
from F4 to F2 and leading a race. How about that?
He has to try and keep the battle going. You know, Shane and Petronas are right behind him. They all still need to pit. Skunk Burner and Paita is now catching up. Magic Marks actually gets ahead of Brundle. They're battling side by side after the straight. Brundle's still on the inside of Magic Marks, and Brundle gets back out in front. Magic Marks goes back down to 8th. So we've got a good battle already going on.
That's a very big move. The 2 guys. That's an undercut basically what Brundle's afternoon. Oh no, he's not going to make it.
Oh, he tries to sell the dummy. Same what Petronas tried to do to Mr. T, and Brundle was not phased by that. He's just like, mate, there's not enough room for you to do it, so I don't think you're going to do it. So Magic Mark stays 8th. Brundle's defending very, very well. Schumacher is actually trying to catch up to Paita, and Paita's actually all over the gearbox of Skunk Burner.
Remember I said that about 2 or 3 laps ago when the guys were pitting that said Magic Mark is going to be the big loser, going to get undercut. That's what's up to happen. Look at Magic Mark in 8th position now. He was in what, 4th? Now he's in 8th. Skunk Burner is net
Piter
leader here.
just saves it, and Shane gets a penalty. Unlucky Piter. Good response there, because I think he turned in a little bit too soon there going into the bridge trying to attack Skunk Burner. He almost caught the wall.
Now it's on Brundle to pull away from the Magic Man. Could potentially, that could be a battle for the podium is what we're looking at there at the minute.
But meanwhile,
Brundle had to make that move.
Right now the trio up in front are still battling. Look at Piter, he got an amazing run there in the first couple of corners. They're on the straight. Skunk Burner is still up.
Oh my
in
god, he's
front.
catching him! Piter is catching Skunk! He's actually catching him!
Yeah. He wasn't going to make the move there, but at least it cuts the gap down. So maybe Piter could potentially make the move soon. Meanwhile, Skunk's actually catching up to Patronus. If he gets into the back of those three, it could play very well into Piter's hands to allow Piter to maybe make the move. Yeah,
the front three are going to have to pit soon enough. Oh, Shane might have clipped the wall a small bit there. I'll have to check his car for damage real quick. Nope, he's all good. All good. Yeah, Skunk is catching the back of these guys. Meanwhile, he's Piter behind. Where has Piter hit all this pace? This pace just seems to come out of nowhere. Fantastic job by Piter.
Yeah, I have to agree. It's really, really good pace. And I actually have to say it's the same for the front-running three currently at the moment of Mr. T, Shane and Patronus. They've all put on an amazing show with like the speed, the battle they've had. I think this battle's gone on for pretty much a good portion of the race. And they're still bringing it up in front, even though, you know, the faster-running cars are now starting to hit the back of the group. But they don't care. They're still fighting. And I think Piter almost clipped the wall there. That was very, very close, because I swear I heard a little dance there from catching the wall.
Skunk's going to have the pressure issue as well, because he can't hold back. He can't wait for, you know, Patronus and Shane to decide what they're going to be doing. Oh, John Digby gets a 3-second time penalty. What was I saying there? Yes, Skunk is going to have the pressure issue with the guys in front.
Tarrant gets the fastest lap of the race, as well as Jake Moore getting a 3-second time penalty. Piter's still gaining on Schumacher.
Look how close he is.
Yeah, and look at that. Patronus is currently now about to be
Jake Moore's out!
Jake Moore's out!
Let's have a look. Where did he crash? What was the crash? Oh, don't tell me it was under the bridge. Don't tell me the car is under the bridge. Nope, it's not. I'm right on board here with Skunk, or not, sorry, Skunk Stretch. Can't see where the car went out. Unless he did it in the pits, maybe.
Is it terminal damage?
I'm just about to check that because I can't see the car stricken on the side of the track.
I mean, it's the same as Senna, you know, yellow flag in the first sector, so that might mean that they did pit. I know Senna did.
Checking here. No, it just says Jake Moore got multiple warnings.
So Jake retired under his own accord as well.
Yeah, it looks like it. It doesn't say here terminal damage for Jake Moore. So that's the two Red Bulls out.
Oh, Skunk Burner hits the wall! Skunk Burner caught the wall on the bridge!
Check
no
for damage.
That's very lucky. Patronus a 3-second time penalty. Skunk Burner got off very, very lucky there, because that could have ended in tears. Schumacher gets a penalty!
He must have followed him through.
That's good for Piter, because remember, Piter has a 3-second time penalty. That means Schumacher and Skunk Burner were going to benefit from that, but now the battle between, the ability to get past Piter with the penalties is now gone for Schumacher, as Piter is now able to fight Skunk Burner, because provisionally Skunk Burner is in the lead, but it's still...
Skunk Burner wants to get past Patronus. He needs to get past Patronus to keep the lead going. He's net leader at the minute. He needs to get past these guys. He wants to make the most of it. The safety car comes out now at the minute. It's not looking good for Skunk. He needs to get past these guys.
No, because these guys are not, like, we don't care if you're the leader, we're not giving blue flags, so you can stay behind. And
although it's funny if you mention blue flags, I'm seeing blue flags in Sector 1 for some reason. When I'm riding on board with these guys, I don't know if you're spotting that. Skunk goes very wide.
Oh, John clips him in the wall on the inside! John Pite, sorry.
Very Schumacher isn't too far behind Piter. We're having a bit of a build-up here in traffic now. It's like a convoy. It's nearly like a restart. they're back to front. They're
Yeah,
within 3 or 4 tenths of
it
each other.
almost feels like it. Oh, and there's been
Oh,
touch!
sideways!
Schumacher's
Sideways!
actually
Who's got
spun!
sideways? Who is that? Sideways?
Schumacher hit the back of Paita. It almost sent Paita into a spin, but he saved it. And unfortunately, it sent Schumacher into a half spin, nearly into the wall.
He's in
and
ninth now.
Schumacher gets the tail end of that. So it looks like the battle now, which was probably going to be between the top three, has gone down to Skunk Burner and Paita. And actually, surprisingly, Brundle moves up. And look at that, Paita! It's getting the run on Skunk.
No, he's not going to make the move. It's not there from. Still biting at the time. But as we know, Skunk doesn't really make mistakes. We don't really see it from. Okay, you can say the last lap in Spain. You can say the last lap in Spain, but no, it's not really there. It's very uncharacteristic of him. Oh, Shane
gets past Shane. Pite has actually got past Shane. No, he hasn't. Shane actually managed to try and respectfully leave him the room to make the move, but Paita broke very late going into the corner and locks up, and that allows Shane to get 4th place back.
Paita will want to get past Shane. He will want to keep on the back of Skunk Burner. We know the Skunk Burner's net leader, so whenever the rest of these guys pit, left the pit is to pit Patronus and Shane.
Paita's got a 3-second time penalty, as well as Brundle.
Oh no.
This actually will play well for the Magic Man. He doesn't have a penalty.
Yeah, the Magic Man is very good at stuff like that. Even Man with the Cash just got caught up to the back of his train as well. This actually leaves room for Schumacher. Okay, I know Schumacher took a bit of a spin, but if he catches up to the back of his pack within the next lap or two, that kind of nullifies his spin. I know a small bit, he was up there, but still, look, it lessens the impact of the spin.
So the battle still continues. Mr. T. Oh, Terrapins receives a 3-second time penalty. I think Mr. T and Shane have pitted. Patronus stays out. Skunk Burner, he's going to go down the inside into turn 1. Skunk makes the move. Patronus just doesn't have the grip to retaliate.
No, and Skunk now is hoping that Patronus holds up Paita. That's what he's looking to do. Patronus is a very defensive driver. He will not give up that position.
On board with Paita.
Oh,
he's got the DRS on Patronus.
He has the run on him. He's going to the inside.
Look at that speed that Mercedes has. It's overtaken the McLaren, who will soon be provided Mercedes engines. It's still side by side going out of that corner though. Patronus is still retaliating. Brundle was actually caught up to the pair. Look at that! He shut the door.
Brundle's on the outside.
Brundle into immediate contention. Brundle's got a penalty, and Brundle's gone into the slip road.
Well, it looked to me like he got pushed into the wall. Just the room wasn't there. Wasn't there from the outside. Yeah. It's a city track.
It's him to try and get out.
This track does not allow sometimes for a 3 wide or wherever it is. But on the exit, it just there was no room. Feel unfortunate for Brundle.
Meanwhile, the Magic Man.
Bad qualifying session, but it looked to be coming up.
Well, Paita's got that 6-second time penalty. Brundle now being out of the way could potentially allow Magic Man to try and make the push back up again. Patronus is still holding up Paita, you know. Patronus is leaving a mark before he goes into the pits.
Paita is looking very, very racy tonight. I'm liking this a lot from Paita. Looking very good tonight, he is.
Meanwhile, Racing Jason's all over the back of
Patronus is not
Magic
pissed. Patronus is bringing those hards all the way to the end, it seems. I'm kidding, he's not.
And Paita is going to make a move, try and go around the outside, but because he's going to go... Oh, it looks like Paita goes off the track. He cuts the corner a little bit, and that means Paita moves up into 2nd place.
Textbook cutback there from Patronus, or sorry, from Paita.
It looks like Patronus is now going to try and hold off the Magic Man going into the straight. And looks like the Magic Man just cannot do it at the moment.
Look at the back.
Patronus
look at the background. Look what's happened. Schumacher's already
Racing Jason, he's under pressure from Schumacher. Schumacher gets ahead of Racing Jason. And Schumacher does have that 3-second time penalty. But that doesn't mean it's going to be all over yet. Because the Magic Man is trying to get past Patronus. What was once holding off a Mercedes is now holding off a Racing Point. It's going to play very well for Schumacher. As you said, it's going to allow him to make that recovery.
Yeah, that's exactly what he needs. Although he had that spin, the train that's built up. Oh, the Racing Point's right on the back of Patronus. Magic Mark's gonna be making. He's gonna make the move. No. He's holding off. Very late braking. Very late braking. So
big props to Schumacher. Even with that contact, he has no damage. He's still fine.
Yeah. He can do a front wing 100%.
That is
really
amazing.
He's still with a chance of. Oh, very late. Very late, Schumacher. He's still with a chance of a podium here as well. So he's Roberts.
Still really going for it. And can the Magic Man make the move?
Petronas is in. Petronas is in.
Pide's got another 3-second time penalty. That's 9 seconds.
I don't think Skunk is any. 11 laps to go.
Skunk. I think Skunk's penalty free at the moment.
Oh, thank you very much. RSF1 Raikkonen has said good comms already. Thanks very much, Raikkonen.
Thank you very much, Raikkonen. Skunk Burner is still up in the lead. Shane gets fastest lap of the race. Shane gets past Petronas in the pits.
Shane goes fastest lap as well. Nice one, Shane.
I actually want to you to try and do a Kimi Raikkonen voice and basically say that comment. Just very good race or something like that.
Kimi Raikkonen, what was he used to say? The start of every question. Oh, Kimi, that was really good race. You know.
I mean, it was a good start. You know. What would be amazing if you ask him a question and he replies with a comment, "Leave me alone, I'm watching this thing." That'll be really good. Paita is actually gained on Skunk Burner. I know he's got all those penalties, but Paita still wants to race him. Again, as you said, very racy mood there from Paita. He's all over the back of that Williams. He's not going to stop him.
Paita get past Skunk for the win. Okay, forget about penalties. Forget about penalties for a second.
If excluding the penalties,
yes.
If he could try and cut down that gap and put in amazing exits and entrances into the corners, he's catching him.
He's got 2-3 tenths already on one turn.
But it looks like he's gaining in the straights but losing it in the corners because Skunk opens the gap in corners, but Paita's just got that overall straight line speed. But except for in that corner, because it looks like Paita's actually got a really good run there. He's still over the back of him, but it's not enough yet.
No, the DRS is there from the
cutting down those temps.
Yeah.
He has got the ERS. Skunk, however...
Very close, very close.
Skunk's nearly got a full battery. Look at that, he's conserving while battling.
Great job from Skunk. Skunk runs with no assist, so no traction control, no ABS, none of that stuff. And I think that's how he gets maybe a better exit sometimes. He just, when he puts the foot down, he knows to put it down just enough to get so much traction, but to get the best exit out of the corner. Oh, Skunk!
Oh, and he went very wide! Going into that corner! And that allows Paita to get close!
We're just talking about Skunk as well. That's a very rare mistake you will see from Skunk partner.
And the best part is he actually turned up the battery to make up for that little moment.
He's turned right back down, he's on 0 again. Actually, 2 of them are on 0, 2 of them are on 0. Meanwhile, the Magic Man is creeping in the background, he's watching all this unfold.
So it's really, really close. And it looks like Paita gets a very bad run. Out there, the wheels touch the wall. And it looks like he's lost a little bit of time there to Skunk Burner.
You're not going to believe this premise. Skunk does not have 1-1.
He's been racing so cleanly, even under the amount of pressure is being applied. Skunk's just cool under pressure. He blocks up a little bit there. He may have made a little mistake, but
Paita is 9
no
seconds.
Penalties. 9-second time penalty for Paita, so even if he gets out in front, he has to open up that gap massively, and he's only got 9 laps to do so. And he might be able to make the move here. Look at the run he's getting, and Paita goes round the outside. Skunk Burner is side by side.
They tap a small bit, still going
to make the move.
No,
oh my god, I almost lost the ability to speak there because of that action.
Here's something as well for you. The Magic Man, he's 1 warning away from a penalty.
Oh, so it's very, very risky play. If Marks gets a penalty, that's pretty much secured Skunk Burner's victory if he can get to the end.
Let's check here the rest of these guys here. Schumacher has 3-second penalty. Man with the cash, 5 second plus 3, so he's 8 seconds.
John Digweed has some as well.
He does, he has at least 5 second, 8 second penalty. Kibitzi, 2 warnings. So he's 1 warning away.
So both
Shane,
Mr. T and Magic Marks
penalty.
are in danger of getting a penalty.
Yeah, there's actually a lot more penalties than I realised. There's some drivers in this grid, you know, they're not really used to getting penalties. Like, and they've maybe two penalties already. Very uncharacteristic of these drivers.
It's very, very hard to call how the end of the race is going to go with the amount of penalties.
Yeah. Well, we're counting down the laps here.
Oh, it's lap 23 of 31. Skunk Burner's still got Paita all over the back of him. Magic Marks still following Paita. Schumacher's a second off of Magic Marks, so no DRS for Schumacher. Going on to the straight, because just a lap ago, Paita was going to make the move on Skunk Burner around the outside.
Skunk Burner's on full overtake. He was a second ago.
Try and do it.
He's back in. I think Skunk Burner's
Oh, back end. Good pressure applied though from Paita. This is really, really good pressure.
I'm watching here.
Racing Jason.
Racing Jason. Yeah. No, I'm just reading the chat here. RSF1 Wycliffe just said, "Someone get this McLaren out of the way." I think he was referring to maybe Patronus maybe before he hit it. I don't know.
You know what he should do? Because I'm obviously Raikkonen's in F4. If Raikkonen's like behind someone, like say if it's me and I'm too slow and like I can't, and I'm holding him up. He's like, "Someone get this man out of the car and like, back into reporting and stuff."
Give me my wheel.
Because that
Where's
was
my wheel? Give me my wheel.
Yeah, that's the steering wheel. Come on, move.
Where's my wheel?
Yeah, I remember that. And like when he was in the safety car restart in Abu Dhabi, and he's just like, "Yeah, we need to conserve with the tyres." It's like, "Yeah, yes, you don't have to tell me every 3 seconds."
Oh, John Digweed got a penalty.
Oh, it's not going to do him any good. That's going to basically secure Mr. T at least 6th place. But do remember, Man with the Cash has actually got a handful of penalties, including that massive 5-second time penalty he got given in the opening lap.
We're looking here as well. Brundle just seems to have given up. He's sitting 11th after a new wing. It's not his day, I don't think, Brundle. Maybe not his season.
It's both the Renault and the Red Bull are just having a bad day in the office today. Oh, the Man with the Cash is actually battling hard with John, and John gets ahead of the Man with the Cash.
Oh, as we were saying, Brundle gets past that Max Terp. Of course, Max Terp gets. Max Terp, I think, is going for fastest lap. He must be going to take the softs on. Oh, he hit new wing as well.
Oh, Man with the Cash almost caught the wall. He had to brake a little early. Yeah, actually, yeah, Man with the Cash is missing an end plate.
Missing his left one. I tell you, this is a city circuit. You do not want to be missing any part of your front wing. You need all your front wing. You need all the downforce you can get.
Well, I mean, Mercs are doing really well if you take away the penalties. Second and third. Schumacher's got 6 seconds worth of penalty. God. Meanwhile, the Magic Man still going strong. Still got those 2 warnings, but no penalty. Skunk Burner, I think he's still only got, still got no warnings.
Skunk Burner has 0 warnings. Let me just double check that again, just to be on the safe side. But the last time I checked, yeah, Skunk is just doing the perfect race at the minute. Perfect.
I mean, the amount of pressure that's being applied to the race leader at the moment is incredible. Given how much Pivy is attacked that Williams.
You want to see Skunk Burner's times as well here. It's always a 142, 142, 142. He had one bad lap where he did 144 and a 143. That was it. So
WR stretch! That's the reason why we had a yellow flag in the second sector. WR stretch has maybe touched the wall or maybe made contact with Max Tarup. Nope, Tarup's still fine. Yeah, I think he just caught the wall.
Yeah,
Bad luck
must have
there
smelled the ball.
for WR Stretch.
Shane's going to make the move on the Bitsy, is it? Yes. Shane's very close to the back of the Bitsy.
He wants to make that move. That Racing Point is hungry to make that move. Meanwhile, speaking of the Racing Points, Schumacher is still struggling to catch Magic Marks. Magic Marks is all over the gearbox of Pie-Eater. It looks like Skunk Bob got a bit of a bad run there, but it's allowed Pie-Eater to get closer and Magic Marks as well to join in the party.
Mark will be looking first.
Still looking really, really good. Pie-Eater locks up, going into the chicane before the bridge. That's going to allow the Magic Man to try and make it.
Tell you, there's one place you
won't do
cannot go. You know, you can't go too wide under the bridge. No way.
I think I remember it was Adrian Sutil and Nico Hulkenberg in 2014. I think I remember there was like an incident under the bridge. They tried making the move.
RSF1 Reichland in the chat, he's actually referring to, he's actually giving quotes from Reichland. He was having a, S01T.
Yeah, did you miss that presentation from Pele? Oh, the back end of Magic Marks goes out a little bit, he saves it, but yeah, I still love that interview of Raikkonen though. He's like, you missed the presentation by Pele, like, are you going to be upset? And he's like, yeah. I was having a beep. I can't swear on the stream because we're trying to stay family friendly.
Yeah. Although this really aren't mature, we're still trying to stay family friendly.
True.
I think a lot of these drivers are just holding station, I think. Doesn't seem much room for overtaking really here. You can, have a look here and there, but you just need to find an extra little bit just to try and get past the guy in front of you.
The battle has been close though the entire race.
It has, which is good to see. Like Skunkburner hasn't run away with it. He hasn't been like 10, 20, 30, 40 seconds ahead. He's only like 7/10 of a fighter. And the first fighter, he's actually put up a great fight against a lot of these front runners from F2.
Yeah, it's a really good run for him. I mean, it's a shame about those penalties, but it does happen. As you said, Skunkburner, he's not commanded. I mean, he started first place, so he's done really, really well. But it's definitely not been an easy day for him because the entire time he's not been able to open the gap between him and second place. Second place has always been all over Skunkburner. Going on to the straight. Schumacher on Marks with the DRS and Marks on Pie-Eater.
I'm watching Shane. Shane's on the back of the Bitsy. He's going to make the move. Yes, a full overtake mode. Shane's going to try the outside, going into one.
Well, round the outside into turn one. He does it. Shane moves to 7th place. Mr. T, he's now down in 8th place. And that's going to allow Patronus and Brundle to try and catch up. I actually think WR Stretch, after that damage, has now become a back marker.
Yeah, great overtake by Shane. He just threw the car in. It stuck. Great job.
Still close between the top 4. Brundle got another 3-second time penalty. That's not going to do Brundle any favours. If Tarap actually gets ahead of Brundle with the penalty, Tarap will have fastest lap of the race with him and 10th place.
Yes, if he can get past Brundle. That's going to be the thing, though.
Pie-Eater got a very bad run out of that corner, and that's going to allow the Magic Man to get ever closer.
I'm trying to have a quick look at his dash on I'm trying to look at the temps on the tyres. I don't think they're that overheated. Jake Moore did say at the start about the tyre degradation, so I wonder as I start to feel it maybe a bit on the hards. Patronus did pit.
Pie-Eater's got a missing end plate! Pie-Eater's got a missing right end plate!
Oh, he does?
Sorry to cut in! He must have made contact with the wall!
He's going to have to hold station now. He won't be able to attack with it missing. But he's going to have to hold off the Magic Man.
John Digweed's crashed
John Digweed
on the straight! Virtual safety car is deployed as John goes around the last corner and smashes into the wall. John Digweed is out of the Singapore Grand Prix.
Oh, that's unfortunate. 4 laps left to go for John Digweed. He's actually doing fairly okay as well, so he was. That's unfortunate. I say just the back end, the back right wheel went over, maybe just got a bit onto the curb, spun the car around. That was it. Oh, geez, that was quick.
Green flags, and the virtual safety car is now ended. So back on it, Mr. T is attacking Shane. Mr. T actually manages to get the attack going. Shane defends, but goes off the track wide. Very good attack there from Mr. T. It caught Shane off guard.
Yeah, great move back by Shane as well to retake the position.
Oh yeah, he just said, oh wait, no you don't. I'm still here. I'm going to fight you. Pie-Eater is actually getting under a lot of pressure of that end plate damage. It's going to allow the Magic Man to try and get close. But even with the damage, he's defending quite well, but his ability to attack Skunk Burner is now gone. He's now a second down on Skunk. Skunk's now starting to open up the gap.
Yeah.
And if Pie-Eater can continue to defend off Magic Marks, I think Marks' chance of winning the race might be gone.
It's true, but that's an awful lot of work to do in 3 laps. Is to get past Pie-Eater, make up to get faster, and obviously make them look on Skunk. Okay, 2 laps to go.
Mr. T has finally collected his first penalty of the race.
It's unfortunate.
Meanwhile, Skunk Burner has none. And neither does Magic Marks. But that crash with John Digweed has put Mex Tarup into 10th place, which means he's going to take the fastest lap of the race home with him. And with the Cash has got another 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limits and cutting the corners. Ooh, pardon me. Ooh,
2 laps to go. You don't want to see that.
Speaking of Pie-Eater, oh, Pie-Eater hits the wall! He's broken the other end plate, I think.
He hasn't, has he?
He has not.
No, that's the one that's missing. That's the one that's missing already.
That was almost going to be like insult to injury. He did lose the right end plate, but that could have been even more disaster for him.
And I've seen drivers lose a wheel there. I've seen drivers lose a wheel there. Very easy though.
And that can make a massive Constantina effect if they're all bunched up.
Well, of course, one guy stops. You have one car going over 200 kilometers per hour in front of you. Next thing he's doing dead stop. The yellow flag. Oh, that's his Mex Tarup spun around.
Oh no, and he's hit the wall.
Lost
the left end plate. Although Tarup could continue to go on to the end because the gap between him and WR Stretch is quite big.
I can see the Magic Man making a move on Pie-Eater within the next lap or 2.
Yeah, agreed. Pie-Eater is just struggling for all-round grip, and Skunk Burner is now just, he's just like, bye lads, and he's now taking off. Ooh!
Really put it in there.
Late on the brakes, trying to catch Pie-Eater. Obviously, with the lack of aero, Pie-Eater can't throw the car into the corners as much as he'd want to. I think, yeah, you're right. I think here is where he might try and make the move, because Pie-Eater's got no DRS on Skunk Burner. So Pie-Eater's now vulnerable to an attack. He still manages to stay ahead.
Like the wool is not pulled over the Magic Man's eyes. Very easy.
Shane gets past the man with the cash.
Of course, he damaged the man with the cash. Yeah, missed an input as well. Good job for Shane though. 5th position so far. Penalties pending.
Shane can cut down the gap between him and Roberts or Schumacher. Shane might be able to try and get into 4th place. Actually, no, I know Pie-Eater's got quite a load of penalties, so Shane might move into it regardless. If Shane can cut the gap down between him and Schumacher, Shane could get his 3rd podium of the season. And though Shane has a 3-second time penalty, while Schumacher's got 6.
Oh! You're watching this? Magic Mark very close to making the middle of Pie-Eater.
Oh yeah, the battle is close. Pie-Eater just cannot hold them off. This is going to work wonders for Shane as well, as Shane is closing the gap down between him and Schumacher. Schumacher's got 9 seconds worth of penalties!
Pie-Eater very bad exit there.
Shane could get the podium!
Yeah.
And Magic Marks gets round the last corner and takes 2nd place from Pie-Eater. Pie-Eater and Schumacher have 9 seconds.
I think Pie-Eater's missing more of it.
Pie-Eater's got 12!
Oh, that's unfortunate. Such a great qualifying session, such a great start to the race. Okay, on track still it's third place.
Get the podium.
Oh, there's more carbon fiber flying around. Who is carbon fiber? Is that? It's not Schumacher. It must be Biters. It's Biters.
He's lost both the end plates. He's lost both of them.
Schumacher making the move around the outside.
Oh, I feel so sorry for Paita. He's got no end plates on the car entirely.
Tell you, throw it in with used tires. That's not a good combination, Primus.
I actually think he's got orange wing damage because he's missing a lot of the right wing.
To me, it looks like red on the right.
Yeah, it is really, really horrible. He's got so much damage that he has just lost a load of time. That's allowed Shane to catch up. Shane's potential third podium in the league is a reality nearly. Mr. T under pressure from Petronas. I'm going to have to go on board with Skunk Burner as he is going under the bridge. Clean racing all around from Skunk. Starting the race in the lead and finishing in the lead while holding off, and Petronas gets a 3-second time penalty while fighting with Mr. T. We got a yellow flag in the third sector.
Can't see who it is.
And Skunk Burner wins the Singapore Grand Prix, and the fireworks go off. So Magic Marks takes second place, Schumacher third. Here comes Paita fourth. Shane gets his third podium. He gets the podium like I said he would.
That is just racing point now, moving further and further away in the constructors. Happy points from Magic Mark as well. It's going to do a world of good for him.
Shane has to be driver of the day. He was 13th place and he's in the podium. I have to give it to Shane.
So far so good. Let's see how the penalty situation looks. Debatey was up by positions as well. He's in 7th.
Although Brundle and Tarp still have yet to finish. Oh, Brundle is just creeping along the track.
That's a very good point. They're flaming after saying Piater for driver of the day. I think he's definitely worth a mention. Oh, Brundle. He's
definitely worth a mention for the amazing battle he put up against Skunk Burner. But Shane was 13th place. He was among the people fighting ahead of the front runners, and he's in 3rd place. Because you had Skunk Burner, you had Paita, you had Marks, you had Schumacher, and then you had Shane, Mr. T and Petronas up in front fighting, you know, keeping them all backed up, and Shane gets 3rd. I'm going to have to say, as much as Paita did an amazing job to put pressure on Skunk, I'm going to have to say Shane's my driver of the day. I seriously think Shane has earned it from me, but what do you think, Modder?
Yeah, I just want to see the screen at the end just to confirm it. Pretty much, yes. But I just want to see what the screen is like at the end. You know, for the penalty situation and all that, because driver of the day really is driver of the day, you know, for me.
So, I'll go over the classifications while Bodder has a little look at the list. So, after what has been a tremendous Singapore Grand Prix, Skunk Burner wins in 1st place after starting 1st and does really well. Magic Marks makes his way from 3rd to 2nd after a really strong fight. He got a bad start, but he managed to make a good recovery. Shane manages to jump into 3rd place after the amount of penalties that was accumulated by Paita and Schumacher. Schumacher 4th though, it's not too bad. He only went down a couple of positions. So Schumacher's in 4th place. Man with the Cash 5th. So he manages to stay exactly where he is. Well done to Jason, Racing Jason. Paita 6th. Good battling there from Paita. Mr. T in 7th. Petronas 8th. Brundle 9th. Mex Tarap in 10th with the fastest lap. And then WR Stretch rounds off the grid. And then you have John Digweed, Jake Moore, RSF1 Senna, and Josh Season 4 among the cars that unfortunately didn't get to finish the race.
Well,
so
I think you're definitely right with
your
driver of the day there. So I think we'll go with that. But I think it definitely a mention has to go out for Paiter. Such a great qualifying session.
Definitely.
For most of the race, did a great job as well. It just seemed like the last few laps, maybe the car wasn't there from, the tires weren't there from. It just seemed to unravel for him.
So let's get the rest of the lads in.
Okay, so we're missing Skunk. try and get Skunk in here. Skunk's probably already celebrating, so yes.
I couldn't blame him. That was a very, very good race from him. So we'll try and get Marks in for the moment. If they don't join for another minute or so,
go ahead.
I'll interview the driver that we have in for the moment. So we'll do our usual order. I'll do third, you do second, I do first.
Perfect.
It all just depends if the other guys join. So for that moment, Shane, you are in the party. Have you included your audio?
I have.
Oh, I didn't even see you got the notification to join.
The pink boys are here.
All right, the Pink Panthers have arrived. So until we can get Skunkburner in, I'll start off with Shane. So Shane, a tremendous drive, and unfortunately being knocked out in qualifying and starting in 13th place.
14th.
A really strong battle. 14th place, sorry. So
I think.
Strong battle, and you know, at one point you was up ahead of all the front runners. You know, Skunkburner, Magic Mark, Schumacher. They're all gaining on you, and you, Patronus, and Mr. T were just up in front. But just please give us an insight on how your race has been today.
Quali, I didn't leave myself enough time, did I, for the lap? So that stitched me up. For the first few laps, I was just sitting in position. When I got up behind Mr. T, oh God, he was so slow through the corners, but he got low downforce. I was running rich overtake, DRS down the straight, he was still pulling away from me. I just couldn't catch him. So I made the decision to go for an undercut. He pitted the same lap as me. The one mistake I saw him make was when I got right on the back of him, made a mistake coming out the final corner. And it just gave me the opportunity then. I actually think that I could have been a lot closer to Skunk and Magic Mark if I'd have been able to clear Mr. T in the first stint. But I'm well happy with P3. I've got to give Monster Skyline a shout out as well. He was engineering for me. He was keeping me informed on the penalties in front and what was going on during the last couple of laps. I knew a podium was a chance, so I'm well happy with that.
Third podium of the season as well, Shane. You got second in Germany, you got third last race, and then you've got third again today. And I think it goes without saying, yet again, for the second time this season, maybe your third podium, but for the second time this season, you have been awarded Driver of the Day.
Cheers, buddy. Primus, thanks for
that.
I'm sweating buckets now. I'm knackered. You're a hard race, that is, mate. Hard
crack
race.
open a cold one. You earned that one.
I think about it.
You'll think about it because it's a bit late. Anyway, so Bodder, have you got any questions for Shane in his for his drive?
No, that was a great job, Shane. Because I remember because I was going through the formation lap, and you started, I think, second last. If I'm not correct in that, am I correct in you saying that? Because it was John season 4 last, and then you were second last. Am I correct in saying that?
No, now that I think about it, Tarek was behind me. Next Tarek was behind me, so I was 13th.
You were 13th.
Which was only 15. Yeah, I was only 15 others, weren't they?
Great drive, though. Great drive. Like, your idea to hold out yourself, I think it was maybe Tabitsi and Patronus was holding out. To me, that looked a bit like suicide. But you turned me around on it. It came around for you.
I knew it would work. I knew it would be strong towards the end of the race. On them mediums, I knew it to be very strong. I mean, last lap they were very slippy. But I just had to keep my foot down and hope I could catch Roberts and Paeta enough.
Right, it's been informed. Skunk says no mic.
No, Skunk's got mic.
So
Yeah.
Well, Bodder, I will hand you over to Magic Marks, but before you do that, again, Shane, well done for a really good third place and driver of the day.
Thanking you.
Well done, Shane.
All right. The Magic Man, Magic Mark, pulling out of the bag yet again. Another solid qualifying session, followed by another solid race. Dude, it seems like that's all you need to do is just have solid races now, get some solid points for yourself from here on out to the rest of the season, and you basically have the championship in hand, I believe, at this moment, if you just keep going the way you're going. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I just got to keep going. oh God, that was the most frustrating race I've ever had. Right from the beginning, from Q3 onwards, because I invalidated my lap and I was 5 tenths up in second sector, and I invalidated it, and then I think Payet hit me on the formation lap, so my tyres were absolutely freezing, and then that's why I had a bad start. Then I couldn't get past him all race, and that was really frustrating because I knew I had the pace to get at least catch up to Skunk.
Yeah, I
And
said
then
that comms.
Yeah, and then I finally get past him last lap. I'm like, what? What's the point? You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm happy with second though. I kept it out of the walls because it is an hard track. Yeah, I was going to say well done to Shane and Skunk on first and third. Skunk's messaged me actually saying Magic Mark is the best driver in the world. He deserved the win. That's what I put.
That's funny because he just messaged me here as well. Let's see what he just said to me. He says, "Hey, Boda, by the way, you're the best part of the comms guys ever. Well done." I was like, "Thanks very much, Skunk."
He's lying.
Oh, my chopped liver.
No, he just says, "No, Mike, mate, left a comment. Yeah, perfect. We've seen that. Thanks very much. Good win. Well done, Skunk." Yeah, going back to yourself, Mark, we kind of saw that on the stream. You were kind of holding position behind Pieter, and it looked like there was just nowhere around him. Every so often we saw you kind of having a look here or there, but it just seemed like it wasn't there. We knew about the penalty situation. I don't know if you knew about it.
I knew he had penalties, yes, and that's why I wasn't pushing too hard. I was just waiting for a mistake. And I knew I had guaranteed second if I just stayed behind him and just didn't hit the wall. But I did nearly clatter into him a few times. I think his tyres or he lost his wing maybe. And he was struggling. Yeah, and it was so hard to judge the braking right behind him. But I managed to, not hit the back of him, and I managed to get past him on final lap. But a bit too late to catch up to Skunk then. But yeah, I'm happy with second. That's what it means. Keep the points. Keep some solid points, and hopefully I can win the title, mate.
Good job. Well, there's one good thing about having the two Pink Panthers on podium tonight, boys. You're moving ahead again in the constructors. You're already in the lead. You're putting more solid points on the constructors. You must be happy with that.
Great result. Yeah, definitely another 1, 2, 3 again. Is that second in a row, Shane?
That's second in a row. That is me.
Yeah.
No, well done again, mate.
Yeah, you too, buddy.
This is definitely going to be comfortable for the constructors because both the Renault today got a very, very bad. Got a massive race to forget. As Chosen was, I think he was last out of all the cars that finished, and I think Brundle only just got ahead of Max Tarp. So barely any points earned today from the Renault team. The two Pink Panthers, again with a 2-3, like second time in a row, opening up the gap between the two of you. I'm pretty sure that you guys are not going to make it easy for them for the constructors fight.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
Well, I think that moves you up a few positions as well in the drivers' championship, Shane. I think you jumped out 2 positions if I'm not incorrect.
Yeah, I believe it does. I've been obviously I had a poor start to the season. Mark was holding the constructors pretty much by himself. The past few weeks have obviously been a lot better, but yeah, I was looking at one stage. I was behind Jake Moore, Petronas, Senna, and somebody else. They were my target to try and catch up to. I should have went for the jump them now. John Digweed as well was another one. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, I can get up towards Man with the Cash and Peppermint come the end of the season.
Okay.
Is there going to be? Is there an update for tables? Do you know?
Well, I have one here in front of me, and before tonight, you were 70 points clear of Roberts.
Right. Okay. When did Roberts finish?
Also known as Schumacher.
Oh, 4th. Did he finish 4th?
No, 4th.
4th.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So.
Right. So, is there any more questions that got to be asked for our podium, Boda?
Nope. Well done to all the guys. Well done to Skunk. He's not here, but he's listening, hopefully. So, well done, Skunk.
Well done, Skunk, on taking the win. It was very good racing and no warnings whatsoever. So, a very clean race there from Skunk. So, tremendous drive. And before we wrap up, I'll go over the classifications of the race one more time. So again, in third place is Shane in the Racing Point with Marks Marks ahead in second. So good run there from the Racing Point team. And then Skunk Burner in his return to RSF1 after a long break secures his second win in a row. So well done to Skunk Burner. So also driver of the day, can't forget Shane from a stellar drive from near on the back of the grid onto the podium. So well done to all of the drivers that took part in today's race. Singapore has definitely proven today that no matter what, even if you're the fastest or the slowest, it's a difficult track to get ahead on. So thank you for watching. Please join us on Tuesday at 8 PM for F1. And could we see Unity Hush maybe continue to try and extend his lead, or more action on track? We'll find out on Tuesday. But it's been Primus Gaming, your host, and with Bodder with me. I want to say thank you, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.